Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Damn, man. I suppose now we're moving on to Thursday. And we're sure happy that you're there to help us along. Welcome to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. What's going on around here, Cubby?
Well, I'm sorry to say there's already some speculation that Dana's marriage is in trouble.
Oh, no.
What happened?
This is news to me.
Well, is it? Is it? We're about to find out. A couple people texted and said you submitted photos of your wedding to Channel 11, talking about how happy you are to be married, and they're seeing through that, and they believe maybe there's some trouble in paradise.
What are they speculating now?
Well, they're wondering maybe if you're trying a little too hard. Is that true? Did you send photos to Channel 11? And what's the story behind that? If that's
Our friend Rena Sargentopoulos does a thing where she wants people to share their good news. You know, share something they're happy about. She does a little segment about it once a week, and she was soliciting things. And I thought, hey, you know, I'll toss a wedding photo up there because I know Rena's very excited that I got married. So I just popped it up there, and I knew my wife watches that show every day when she gets home, Rena's 4 o'clock news coverage, and I thought it'd be a fun little surprise for her.
That's cute.
Rena was so excited about Dana's marriage that she didn't even show up for the ceremony.
I was just going to bring that up myself. Like, I was there the whole time, and I never saw Rena Sargentopoulos.
Right when you left, she popped in.
You just can't get over this thing that you got going here.
What's that?
You're just pumped.
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited.
You can't get over it.
Yeah.
So there's no... People thought, uh-oh, something's going on. He's already doing this. So nothing wrong with that, huh?
No, and absolutely no. I just thought it'd be fun because she gets home from work around 4. She puts that Rena Sargentopoulos 4 o'clock newscast on and sits on the couch with the dog and waits for Jeopardy to start. I just thought it'd be a fun little surprise.
What is she, 70? That's so cute.
She's a second-grade teacher, and she's 40, actually. Of course she sits down and watches the news. She was very concerned about what the weather was going to be like today because apparently we might have some storms coming through.
Heck yeah, we are.
I haven't seen the Rena Sarbala. How do you say it?
Rena Sargentopoulos?
I haven't seen her television show. 4 o'clock?
Yeah, she anchors the 4 o'clock news.
Oh, there's a 4 o'clock news. Mm-hmm. Oh, for Christ's sake. So it's not like a variety show?
No.
It's a news program.
It's a news program, and then every now and again she does this good news segment where she shouts out some people that had some fun things to share to try to bring some levity to this awful, awful world we live in.
She is one of the nicer and funnier people I think I've ever met.
Oh, she's hilarious.
She's all right.
Dana, listeners are now suggesting you come up with a safe word in case you are in danger.
Josh, do you notice how often I'm blinking at you right now?
I thought you had something in your eye.
Any of those photos you sent off to Care 11, any of them feature us?
No, it was just the one photo. It was just the one wedding photo of us with the dog.
You didn't get me eating my 5th cookie at the event?
I'm glad you got to get into those cookies. I missed those. I heard they were good, though.
They were really good.
Oh, yeah, they were popular at the table, that's for sure.
Well, there you go.
Hatch Daddy Jesus also made it on that same segment.
Oh, cool.
He just sent a screenshot.
What did Hatch Daddy send into the program for their Good Vibes segment?
He sent in, "We will see you in Minnesota. Go wild."
Oh, a go wild type of a thing.
That's right.
I'll be damned. Well, tell Rena that we all said hello.
Of course, I will do that.
She used to pop by here now and again before the incident.
Yeah, you can look up the court records if you want to find out more.
I was hoping that wouldn't come up.
She used to pop by.
Ashley, one time we convinced you to steal a coworker's car. It was a setup, but you thought it was real.
Yep.
Today, there's a motorcycle parked in the hallway. Do you know how to operate one of those?
Is it similar to a crotch rocket?
Well, they're both motorcycles.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it's different because of the style of motorcycle.
This is considerably heavier.
We're going to put a pregnant gal on a motorcycle this morning?
I just want to see if she'd be willing to try it.
I noticed that. Why is there a motorcycle in our hallway? Are we giving it away?
I watched it get wheeled in like 2 weeks ago. I forgot to send you guys the picture because it was really funny watching them try to get that around the corners in the hallway.
Well, first off, whatever happened to parking motor vehicles in the parking lot?
This one's been in different hallways around the building the last a week and a half.
So that means we can give it away.
I think it's ours at this point. There's no license plate on it.
Really?
It doesn't have a plate yet. So that says to me, it's ours at this point.
I think this is a giveaway. I just hope it's coming to our radio station. So no one knows why it's here.
No, there's nobody here. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't figure out who owns that thing.
I watched our big boss, Marv. I watched him bring it in.
Oh, so it's his?
I'm not exactly sure. I didn't ask any questions.
Because it was over by his office for a while.
Yeah, I was on my way out, so I don't want to stick around and ask what about the motorcycle.
I get that feeling. There could be a circus going on in here as I'm out the door, and I would not ask any questions.
Well, see, they're going to be either us or KQ's giving away that motorcycle. Willie Water wants the motorcycle. We can't put pregnant ladies or mascots on motorcycles, dude.
Oh, I'd love to see Willie Water on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I want to see a motorcycle rally with nothing but mascots.
Oh, they'd be just popping wheelies and stuff? That'd be badass.
We can't be responsible for that kind of a thing. All right, well, the mystery's going to have to continue for now. We don't know why there's a motorcycle in our hallway. Josh mentioned the Wild a minute ago. Big hockey game in town tonight. The Man-Bear Pigs are playing their first home game in this year's playoff, and we're going to get a chance to hear from Tough Guy McGee himself on a game day, which is pretty cool. Marcus Foligno will be calling in to talk trash about that Vegas club at, I think, 8 o'clock this morning.
Yep.
We'll talk to Marcus. Marcus is a pimp.
Oh, heck yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe he'll dump the mitts for us tonight, Josh.
I mean, he is fiery out there. He's fun to watch play. I wish they should just have a Marcus cam when you're watching the game, because it's so much more fun when you go to the game. And, I pay attention to him now that he's on the show a lot more than I used to. And he's quite the instigator.
It wouldn't be tough to keep up with the Marcus cam. He's a little slow.
I'm telling him you said that.
He's also not very fast on skates.
I'm sorry?
He's also not very fast on skates.
Not very good with...
Bogus.
We love Marcus around here. Maybe he'll dump the mitts for us tonight, loosen somebody's jaw up. Chiclets, Cubby. Chiclets.
What's that? There's a podcast, Spittin' Chiclets. That's pretty popular.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, maybe it's a website and a podcast. It's supposed to be very good.
I still love violence in a hockey game. I love cheap shots.
As a kid, I always thought that was the coolest thing about hockey.
Get that stick in his side. Let him know you're there. That's my motto. So we're looking forward to our visit with Marcus. They're all squared up at 1 win apiece in that series. Here we go. 8 o'clock tonight is game time. We'll get into this with Marcus. I'm sure Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder have a something or another to say about the series. Is this for real? Speaking of the hockey game tonight, this is supposedly, and we've always had a lot of fun conversation on this radio show and discussing how friggin' mental some parents can be at their kids' sporting events. Is this for real? These are supposedly real, true, unhinged things parents have hollered at a kid's sporting event.
Yeah, this is legit.
All right.
Parents are crazy. I love it. I can't wait to be this parent.
I've heard a few things. One very, very disturbing where other parents had to ask this guy to leave.
Yeah.
That level.
Yeah, it was bad.
Can you share with us what the parent was saying?
Yeah, so my oldest son, this was a hockey tournament, and I want to say he was probably 7 or 8. And there was a guy who he was very, very, very aggressive. And, he was always loud. Everybody knew him. He was loud, and he was kind of a jerk. And there was one time we're standing by what would be the away team's net. And so, one of the other players goes down, and he's telling his kid to stomp on him with his skate. And he wasn't joking. He's, yelling at him. And all these parents are like, dude, these are 7 and 8. What are you talking about?
Kill the
Yeah,
bastard!
they're not even checking. I mean, it's like they're out there doing their thing, and he's trying to essentially eviscerate this young person right there on the ice. It was terrible. And many, many years later now, so again, 7 or 8, my oldest was, and then we're at a high school game, maybe his senior year, so he's about 18. And I sat next to this guy, and I told my wife afterwards, I'm like, wow, that was a real fun conversation. I wish I would have met him sooner. And she said, you did. That's the guy back in the day that wanted his son to kill another kid.
Oh, I'm surprised his kid is still playing sports.
Well, I think what happened is his son didn't go as far as he expected him to, or he wasn't the star he expected, so he was a little humbled. But he was a different guy.
He had settled down.
Completely changed, yeah.
No longer calling for amputation on the ice.
I never would have guessed it was the same. I didn't recognize him.
Anyone who played youth sports, or if you've gone to watch your kids play youth sports, you've run into these characters before. Every damn one of us has a story or two, but these supposedly are some of the worst things parents have hollered out during their children's sporting events, starting with one parent who hollered, "Take him out at the knees, Jimmy. I don't care if he's 6.
Have you guys noticed a lot of times it's the moms that are more aggressive,
No.
certainly more vocal?
Yeah, I've noticed that going to my nephew's hockey games when he played in high schools, especially it got really bad in high school. It was hard to control myself sometimes when somebody would, I guess, hit him dirty, where they would get a penalty and, they'd like absolutely throw him down. And it was really hard to not be that person that immediately stood up and just said, what the F? Like, what the heck is that?
I have not experienced that. When I was growing up, playing youth hockey, youth football, all that stuff, it was always the dads who were complete donkeys. Well, not all of the dads, but if there was a loudmouth, obnoxious a-hole in the building, it was always a dude. Our mothers were very well behaved. So I have not experienced that.
So with your godson, it's not so much football, but basketball. It seems some of the moms are really going for it.
Okay.
You can hear everyone so clearly.
And that's
gym,
probably
though.
a lot of it, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that echo.
I sat next to this lady that I'm like, I can't sit next to her anymore. This is so nuts.
Did you feel guilt by association just by sitting next to her? Like, they're going to think I'm with her.
Oh, there's no way I could land her.
Okay.
They'd look at us and go, no, they're not a couple. But yeah, she was very, very loud.
So, especially when they're really young kids playing youth basketball. I mean, it's not like there's a big crowd, right? Everyone can hear everything that each other are saying. Okay, so no, I have not noticed the ladies being buck wild, but it's been a long, long time since I was playing youth sports. It was always our dads back in the day. But I do have one mom story for you, and this just cracked me up. A family friend of ours, a gal, very funny gal. Her son was readying himself for his very first hockey practice. So he's a mite. And so we're all hanging out, having this conversation, and this lady that I know, this gal that I know, there she's standing there with her young son, mite-aged son. And somebody said, hey, little Donnie, I understand, tomorrow's your very first hockey practice. And right away I could tell this kid was nervous about it. He was nervous about it. He was like, yeah, I'm going to go out and play some hockey. So he was nervous. And his mother read the nerves on him as well, and she decided to make it worse. She said something like, yeah, Donnie's going to be skating tomorrow. First hockey practice. He's not the greatest skater just yet. And I said, that's okay, Donnie. You'll get used to it. And you can see how nervous this kid is to even talk about his first hockey practice. And his own mother turns to him and says, you better not fall down on the ice when you're out there for your first hockey practice. You want to know why? And the kid looks up at her and goes, why? And his own mother says, they'll kick your ass.
okay.
And the kid just,
great,
he looked at all of us as if to say, is she telling the truth? They're going to kick my ass. I thought that was just a friggin' riot. She was just merciless with her own child.
I'm fast forwarding about 10 years, and I picture that conversation coming from you, Ashley.
Yeah, I love that.
Elementary school custodian Jesus said basketball moms are the worst. We call the cops 2 to 3 times every season to escort some out.
Oh, the
Wow.
cops.
I've never seen something where the cops needed to get involved.
No, I never experienced that when I played basketball.
I've seen parking lot shouting matches, but no cops ever involved.
One of my oldest gal friends had the cops called on her a few years ago at the hockey rink because she punched another mom. Anyway.
Probably deserved it.
There was somebody,
No, she didn't.
couple-
Well, maybe she did. I've heard conflicting stories as to whether the mom.
A couple of parents are talking about how they've overheard people saying horrible things about their children, and there was one time a member of my family showed up, who doesn't show up very often to some of the games. It was not an expert at all in any sport whatsoever, but was talking trash about a particular player. And I'm saying, can you shut up? Can you stop talking? Can you stop talking? The kid's parent was about 2 feet away from where we were. And they decided that they were the expert all of a sudden, talking all this trash about this kid, who was a great kid, by the way, and he had a bad game.
And again,
if you would have came to any other game, you would have noticed this wasn't how he usually plays.
And again, we're talking about, what, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids?
Oh, he was probably even younger, maybe 6 or 7 at this time.
That's how you know you're a good adult, when you trash talk 11-year-olds behind their back. Okay,
Especially since you have no idea. You couldn't talk the game at all.
Right.
But you're all of a sudden an expert.
How about this? See, now, this article is supposedly unhinged things. Sorry, the gas from drinking too much Gatorade. These are supposedly unhinged things parents have said at kids' sporting events. Is this that bad, Josh? You tell me, because I'm not a parent. You tell me. You're embarrassing me. I didn't raise a quitter. Is that bad?
Well, when you read what happened for the parent to say that, I think, that's pretty bad.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, well, here's the rest of the information. A mom shouted that at her kid for crying after getting hit in the face with a baseball.
Yeah, you could probably give the kid.
You're right. I did not look at the fine print. Because, really, if my kid just upped and quit out on the ball field out of nowhere, I might say, hey, I didn't raise a quitter. Get your ass back out there. But
yeah.
I missed the part where a little girl is hit in the face with a baseball. I'm sorry. You know what they'll do if you fall down. No, what? They'll kick your ass. Rip her ponytail off! That was yelled
Jeez.
At a children's sporting event.
Strong forearm Jesus said he used to pitch. He was a pitcher, and his mom would constantly tell him to throw strikes. And he said the silence of the crowd once heard me answer, no S.
That's funny. Thanks a lot, Mom, for the genius pinpoint advice on what I'm supposed to do.
Why didn't any of my coaches teach me that?
Right.
In a basketball game in middle school, I think it was 7th or 8th grade, our star player was the coach's son. This wasn't a situation, Nick, like you say, where, the kid, that's coach's kid gets all the preferential treatment. This kid was great, and he had to play every minute of every game, and he was exhausted, and the coach called timeout. His dad called timeout, and he's walking to the bench, and he goes, I'm so exhausted. And the dad goes, that's why I called timeout, dummy. And it was one of those ones where it just echoed through the gym, and it was just dead silent there. All the parents and other players are looking around like, oh, this is awkward.
I certainly have seen a little bit of preferential treatment from.
Oh, for Christ's sake, it was the worst.
Actually I've seen more the opposite, where their kid is destroyed. I mean, he's probably because of how it is today, right? Parents aren't going to let you talk trash to their kid, so that's probably a big part of it. But, I mean, all the frustration that's out there on the field is directed right at his kid. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah, maybe times have changed. I mean, sure, when I was growing up, there were plenty of coaches who were extra, I don't want to say hard on, but I can't come up with anything. Sure, I saw plenty of coaches who were extra strict with their son, but the overwhelming majority, it was the coaches who, big surprise, your kid is the starting quarterback?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a huge surprise. Weird. Your son is going to be the center on the first line? That's shocking to all of us. There were a few tough ones, but most of them dumped all the preferential treatment on their their son. This apparently was said out loud at a ball game. An 8-year-old asked if they could get a snow cone after their baseball game. Can I get a snow cone? And one of the parents said, this is not about fun. This is about winning.
Oh, man.
When you're 8 and you're playing terrible baseball. I don't want to hear about a snow cone.
Losing sight of the main point of things very early.
I watched a video yesterday, and it was of an 8U baseball team winning, 8 and under. They're just
Oh, you
kiddos.
said 8U.
8U, yeah.
8 and under baseball team.
Yeah, and they were playing in some tournament, and they got first place. And the parents on the side of the field acted like their kids just went to space for the first time. They were hugging each other. One mom was crying.
Because
what are you doing?
Because their tiny little kids won the ball game?
Yeah. Should take it down a notch.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah, we've all seen some things.
Softball was crazy. I wasn't expecting that. I thought softball would be a little more laid back. But, I mean, there was one parent there that I thought was going to murder other people. He was this was at a South Dakota tournament. I mean, he was like shaking the fences. He was so angry. I don't know
Son of a bitch!
He wasn't a part of. I don't think he was even from Minnesota. I mean, this tournament would get people from around the country.
Yeah.
And you played in it?
No, we had a chance to, but we didn't end up going.
You didn't? Okay. I've never seen somebody that angry at an event. And I have no idea what set him off. They were on a different field, but I didn't want to be anywhere near this guy.
Oh yeah,
He
fast
looked
pitch
dangerous.
traveling softball. That's the one sport I saw the crazy parents at. That was next level. My parents, thankfully, were not those parents. I never heard them. Every once in a while, because I played catcher, I would hear my dad say something like under his breath, just so that I could hear, like, "Hey, watch the person at first." But otherwise, nope, they never said a word. Thank God.
There was one team, this is back to football, where the dad of the opposing team, he would run up and down the sidelines with his son to encourage him to run faster. I'd never seen that since.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
That was 6th grade football for my oldest.
There's all types out there. And like I said, we've all got a great story or two. That's what makes the subject so much fun.
Tattooed Lowlife Jesus says BMX track parents. So a buddy of mine did that, which I thought was awesome because that's back, in the mid to late 80s when it was huge. They made the movie Rad, which I was obsessed with. And he was very, very good. I never noticed that there. Maybe it's changed quite a bit. Well, it seems like people are angrier nowadays.
The two moments that stand out for me was the dad who climbed over the glass and down onto the ice to kick our asses for the way we were treating his son out on the ice.
Was it maybe justified? I mean, obviously that's way extra that he would do that, but was it really bad how you're treating him?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you because there's details. The best part about it was when Dad piled his fat carcass over the glass and down onto the ice, he immediately slipped and fell. But here's what was going on. Yes, we were relentless with this kid. Every chance we got, we made a run at this prick. What his dad didn't know is that his son was the ultimate bully douchebag in school, in the hallways. And this bully douchebag signed up for hockey, and he wasn't very good at it. And so that was our chance to get even with this sumbitch, was when he decided to play hockey. And we smashed this sumbitch's brains in every chance we got. And he had every bit of it coming. This was that kid in your school who would pick on everybody. Well, his dad was not aware of that. His dad, of course, was convinced that his son was God's gift to planet Earth. He had no idea why we were all so brutal to his son on the ice. So you see what I'm saying? It was sure in his dad's eyes, it was all us. But the truth was, this kid had it coming. The other that I'll never forget was, and anyone who played youth sports has been in this situation. Again, it was a hockey tryout situation, and it was the final day of tryouts where once you get your gear off, you run out the locker room and you go to the bulletin board to see what team you made.
Oh, that was always so stressful.
It was.
And there was one kid that I played with, let's call him Don Rodney. There was a kid that I played with named Don Rodney, and I like Don. And I thought Don was a very good player. Well, one parent was not that sold on Don Rodney being an A-team quality player. So we all pour out of the locker room. We race for the bulletin board to see who made what club, and there's my buddy Don Rodney on the A-team. And a parent of another kid involved in tryouts, he did not care. He walked up to that bulletin board, and he saw Don Rodney on the A-team, and he goes, oh, in front of everybody, kids, parents, everyone. Are you friggin' kidding me? Don Rodney on the friggin' A-team? That kid is terrible. Is this a joke? Don Rodney on the A-team. This is unbelievable. That kid sucks.
That's harsh.
Couldn't believe it. Don Rodney, not happy. Don Rodney's parents, even less happy.
Oh, if I was his parents. Oh, my gosh.
And next thing you know, it's an F-U, F-U,
Yeah,
moms
absolutely.
and dads F-bombing each other. I just sat there, even though I liked Don and I felt bad for Don, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was saying to myself, this is what makes tryouts worth it right here.
Well, the joke was on that original dad who blew up because Don Rodney went on to a very successful NHL career.
Yes, you know him today as Wayne Gretzky.
But that was so over the top, just classless, but at the same time beautiful. Don Rodney's doing well these days, just for the record. He is.
Good.
It's good to hear. Glad that didn't traumatize him too much.
Oh, and that guy and the dad who did all the shouting, he's still around too. I saw him a few weeks ago.
Is he kind of that type of guy, or was that just an abnormal event?
Oh, no. He was fiery as all hell on all subjects.
Has he chilled out at this point?
Well, now he's 85 years old, so yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean he's chilled out.
Yeah. Last time I saw him, he's not doing as much screaming and shouting as he used to.
When he fell down on the ice, did you guys skate over there and harass him some more, or did you just let it play out?
By the way, these are two separate dads we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dad who fell on the ice?
Yep.
Well, I was on the bench when it happened. I just laughed my nuts off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone taunted. I don't have any memory of any of us taunting that dude's dad. Why are you picking on my kid? He didn't know that his kid was a world-class prick. So there you go. What else is going on? Am I missing anything, Josh?
Peed my pants earlier, but that's about it.
What do you mean? Are you number one? You're wearing pants?
Well, short.
Oh no, you're wearing your friggin'.
It's all dried now. Yeah.
Oh, some dribbles? Are we talking?
Oh no. Full on. I didn't get a good enough grip. It was bad.
Oh,
Pro.
You're wearing your little blue basketball shorts,
Yeah.
and you peed in them.
On them.
On them.
Yeah. So I.
You had the dong out.
that tiny. It takes a while to find it. Once I found it, I didn't have a good enough grip. I mean, it's completely soaked. I'd have you feel it, but that'd be gross because it's pee.
You have issues with this.
Yeah, it was the second
I
time
want
today.
to feel your pee. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right. I'm hoping that you guys aren't catching anything over there. It's a tad odoriferous, I must say.
I can't smell.
It was a lot of urine.
I think you're just fine. You smell just fine. All right, we'll get going again. Randy Shaver will be swinging by at 7:30. And at 8 o'clock, Marcus Foligno. When we return, we'll dive into the stupid news here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
93X.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
There's been so many times where I'm like, I apologize that I said that, but that wasn't meant for you to hear.
Feel you there.
How fun would it be to bring in some Bravo celebrities and make our own bracket?
Iconic.
All right, I'll take Dorinda, you take Sonia.
Sonia is who I wish I could be.
You and me both. I cannot be someone in the program. What's PTO?
Pay time off. See?
Oh.
You've never had a real job.
Give them Lala.
It is nothing but honesty.
You guys know.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, we got to talking earlier about youth sports. All different kinds of sports. And we also got into the poor behavior of some parents. Total jagoffs, some of them. They don't get it. They just don't get it. Got a text message from elementary school custodian Jesus. Now, Josh, you mentioned you had a broski, and I also had a broski when we were junior high age that tried BMX bicycle racing. My pal lasted one race. He finished last. He had a massive temper tantrum and destroyed his bicycle, and he never went back to it ever again. And I was there to see it. It was incredible.
Oh, it's so awkward. I hated when my friends would have meltdowns and I was there.
But here's elementary school custodian Jesus, who said, I wish I would have known about BMX biking when I was a kid. I would have won the Olympics, he said. And I think you would have.
I don't doubt it.
He didn't know about it.
My buddy.
Like I've said before, I think I could have been a gold medal kayaker.
Oh, from the stories you tell?
That's how good I was in a kayak when I was in high school, but I had no idea and also no motivation and just no clue in general at that age that I could have taken that somewhere.
I didn't know. I still didn't know you could. Is there kayaking in the Olympics?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kayaking?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's actually kind of fun to watch.
I would have won every possible level of kayaking until they put me into the Kayaking Hall of Fame. So sorry, elementary school custodian Jesus. Yeah, you didn't know about BMX biking? I didn't know about kayaking?
I don't know about you being a professional kayaker, though, because when I've been to Colorado and I've gone like whitewater rapid rafting, whatever it is. I have no idea.
You got there.
I'm on a boat. And they also would have kayaking.
Yeah.
And the people that worked at those kind of places that were really good at it, they were all little like stoners. And I don't know if you would have fit the vibe. They're like hippie stoners.
Well, here's the deal. Somebody's got to bring beer. Right?
That's true. That's true.
They can all sit there and listen to Fish and get high. I'll be the one that brings the beer.
I'll try anything 4 times Jesus would have been a gold medal masturbator. Now, I know that's not in the Olympics.
No.
Yet.
My buddy who was a BMX rider, and he was incredible. And now he's doing all kinds of really cool things. He choreographs fights and stuff in movies, and he teaches all kinds of crazy martial arts. He's a stud.
Sweet.
But you would never know it when he was a kid because he was the laziest kid I'd ever met. And I remember him saying, I want to get into BMX biking. The only time I ever saw him bike fast is if we were being chased by someone. Nobody could keep up with him. But he ended up being, really great with all that stuff. Despite, literally, I've never met anyone lazier in my entire life.
Here's a listener asking me, what about bowling? I always mention that I wish I would have bowled as a child and turned it into a career. Oh, yeah, I still wish that would have happened. But the difference is I did bowl now and again as a kid, and I wasn't very good at it. Where in a kayak, it felt so natural to me, and I knew I had all of the skills required to win a gold medal. On the topic of bad behavior from parents at youth sports, I got a couple of texts. Sometimes it's your own parents. From Harder Than Concrete Jesus. Played baseball when he was a kid. He was out in the outfield and his elbow, it started to hurt real bad. Like to the point where he needed to go to the hospital. But he stayed out there, and then it came time for him to throw the ball in from the outfield. It was just a terrible throw because his elbow was cooked. So he starts jogging off the field, and his own dad from the stand says, "What's wrong with you?" And harder than concrete, Jesus said, "I think it's my elbow. It hurts real bad." And his dad said in front of everybody, "What are you, a girl? Suck it up."
Oh, man. Dad, that's so messed up.
And then finally, during a Little League baseball game, one of our listeners says he's watching the game from the stands and he hears a fellow parent, a mom, say, "That little boy out there in the outfield, he keeps holding on to his thingy." You guys see that? The little boy in the outfield, he's hanging on to his thingy. And our listener looked out onto the ball field, and it was his son who, yes, over his pants, was just hanging on to his Johnson.
Hey, son, quit playing with your dinghy.
The entire game, he says, is his son.
Entire game?
Yeah, just held on to his little rod.
Was fun in
Kind of
T-ball.
embarrassing, right?
Yeah, I'd be a little embarrassed if that was my kid.
Yeah.
I would make him change the name on the back of his jersey. When I was like T-ball, watching the T-ball games, it was always kind of fun with the kids sitting down, just pulling grass.
Yeah.
Or facing the wrong way, or laying down. One time my son was laying down. He just didn't want to play in the outfield.
We had some kids in the outfield that would go around and pick dandelions.
Oh, yeah.
Kids could barely get the ball to the infield. There's nothing to do out there but just waste time somehow.
Exactly.
My nephew, my brother's son, played 1 year of Little League baseball, and he was, 9 or something. And my brother called me and said, if you're not busy, your nephew's playing at this ball field at this time. And I showed up, and before the game started, my brother turned to me and said, "Are you ready for this? Because this stuff is awful. It's just terrible. It's just the worst." He said, "There's nothing but walks. It's just the worst experience." And then the kid walked by, and we're both like, "Okay, man, here we go. Let's do it."
Oh, I'm so excited. My nephew is starting to play baseball, and he'll be playing this summer for the first time, and I cannot wait to go to those games.
Oh, it was terrible.
So great.
It was awful.
Actually, I hope they've changed the rules since when I played Little League baseball. I played like 2 years, elementary school, probably second, third grade, something like that. And the rule was every kid got to swing until he made contact and put a ball in play. And there were kids that it's like an alien showed up on Earth and was handed a bat and like, okay, try to do something with this. It's like they had never seen or heard of the game of baseball before. And these swings, and you'd be sitting there just watching these kids just like swinging straight down.
Yeah, we didn't have that problem. I can understand why one parent, long summer, right? A lot of baseball games. Mm-hmm. I can understand why one parent might holler from the stands, "Okay, come on, get this kid out of here." Right?
And it was coach pitch, too, and it was like underhand. So
yeah.
I imagine some of these dads might have had to get Tommy John surgery after throwing 60 pitches to this kid who can't take the bat off his shoulder.
Just get a little tuned up beforehand.
Did you ever feel like from the bench just saying, "Okay, come on"?
Yeah, 100%.
What can you do? All right, we better move on to the stupid news. It's always unfortunate to read about a completely unavoidable accident. Like when I used to cheat on girlfriends when I was a young guy. They were all completely unavoidable accidents.
I used to get frustrated by the people that would blame you for that.
I know, me too.
How do you not get it? I would say to them.
And then there's these unlucky bastards where next thing they know, no fault of their own, I'm sure, they've got a foreign object of some type lodged in their turd chutes. Total accidents, I'm sure, wrong place, wrong time type of a situation.
Yeah.
A completely unavoidable accident.
It happens to the best of us.
I feel sorry for the person that it was an accident. It was a bad fall. They're getting out of the shower and like a plunger ends up their butt because nobody's ever going to believe them. There's absolutely no way. How many times have we read these stories where it's like, yeah, I don't know how it happened. All of a sudden, half of a G.I. Joe arm is up there.
Right. Now, here's a 62-year-old man. Oh, he went on into the hospital on account of his ass hurt like hell. He admitted right away that a, quote, foreign body got stuck up there. And when the doctors looked into their, periscope or whatever, they saw that there was a fun-looking children's Super Bowl type of a thing stuck in this poor feller's can.
I love those.
Before anyone panics, there were no reports of any children being involved in this Super Bowl anus accident. Dude's not a sick maniac or anything like that. But the doctor saw a flashing, actually, it had lights on the inside of it, a flashing children's Super Bowl was stuck up the guy's bottom. And I can tell you more about this ball that our guy keistered and then hauled into the hospital. It was a transparent ball with two cartoon faces on either side. So maybe, I don't know, Mr. Hanky and Towley from South Park or something ran
like
on.
emojis.
Oh, it was emojis?
Yeah, one of them was
you saw
either
the
sleeping or
ball?
dead. Yeah, you didn't. I watched the video.
Oh, no, I didn't watch a video.
It's
No.
very wet. It's gross.
You saw the ball once it was removed.
Yeah, and inside, too, is they had video of the inside.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, they had video of a camera snaking up there and seeing it on the inside. Oh, so it wasn't like Ren on one side, Stimpy on the other. It was emojis?
That's what it looked like, yeah. Chaos coordinator Shiza said, you would be surprised the number of times I just fell on, quote unquote, was the excuse for some of the 911 calls that she got.
Yeah, I would probably.
I would too, even if it was completely obvious.
I would go with that story too. I fell on it.
Even if I live streamed it to Instagram or something like that showed me doing it myself, you'd have to, right? If it gets stuck in there, how embarrassing.
Now, this children's ball also contained a red liquid on the inside, which is going to come into play a little later on in the story. And this ball was stuck. Stizuck. Way up there, by God. When this feller's doctors continued taking a really gross look around this guy's insides, doctors also saw that there was some bleeding inside his rectum. Oof. So they knew they had to get up in there and help this poor bastard out, and quick. New guy was in the corner already, puking his guts out. So the doctors knocked the dude out cold with a chair shot, and they went elbows deep. And they were clever about it, too. First, they poked a hole in the ball so all the dangerous red liquid would drain out into the dude's intestines. And with the ball now deflated, they could just drag the ball straight out the dude's cornhole using a big old ice-cold pair of pliers.
Yeah, but now he's got all that toxic liquid up in there.
And that's what killed the guy.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm joking.
I wouldn't think it was toxic.
I don't know.
It's a children's toy.
Yeah, but I always assume, because aren't there still like other like glow sticks? I think those are meant for kids, and you're not supposed to.
This guy's fine. The red liquid wasn't dangerous. I was joking about that. But it was the truth that they popped the ball first, so it might be a little easier on the way out for the guy.
This is funny from Handcuffs Jesus. He said his aunt was an emergency room surgical nurse. One time, a doctor found a large vibrator way up a man.
Yeah.
And then he asked him, you got two options. Do you want me to remove it or change the batteries?
So anyway, once this team of doctors got the ball out and saw that they didn't tear anything loose or kill this guy, they shook hands and went to lunch. And everything's going to be okay. Anytime one of these accidental solo anal invasion type stories comes up, the author of the story always gives us a rundown of the greatest hits, meaning all the other notable garbage that has been violently pulled from beeholes at hospitals over the years. So here you go. Deodorant cans, lighter fluid bottles, coffee cans.
That's wild.
Coffee cans. Those are very round.
A whole orange. Maybe a big University of Syracuse fan. I don't know. What else have they dragged out of people's backyards? An egg.
At least that's smaller.
Another egg.
One butt?
One butt, 2 eggs.
A chicken and then an egg.
So the egg came first.
You're making some of this up.
An axe handle. A Gatorade bottle. Is it in you? Isn't that their slogan?
It's in you? Yeah. Oh, something like that. That sounds familiar.
Is Gatorade's slogan, is it in you, or am I thinking of some other drink?
Yeah, is it in
there you go. A Gatorade bottle. Is it in you? Yes, unfortunately it is. Doctors say this, and I know you already know this, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. The vast majority of such objects are inserted via the anus and are the result of sexual misadventure.
Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
This person's wife used to work at a major Twin Cities hospital. They once had a dude come in with a WD-40 can right up there.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not going to be sitting right for a few days after that.
That's impressive. Well, they train. They train for this, Dana.
Yeah, you got to work your way up. You start with that egg, and then you keep going.
Another egg. Now, Cubby, it's not just sexual misadventure. They say here, these are doctors speaking, for older men, the objects are sometimes used to bust up a bad case of that constipation.
Nah, you can never catch me doing that.
Okay.
Just go to the doctor.
I hear you saying that, Ashley. And if this were 5-6 years ago, I'd totally understand. But being in a desperate situation like that, I'd consider all those things if I thought that would provide relief.
You haven't been there yet. Josh and I have been there, and yes, you consider every object in the room.
Why didn't you just go to the doctor?
Because I was trying to avoid that.
Because I couldn't stand up?
Yeah, I think I would just go to the doctor. I would be, maybe it's because of this place, like hearing the stories, I would be too afraid of something getting stuck and then having to go to the doctor.
There would have been no room.
It is so desperate. It is so desperate that you can't get into your car and go to the hospital. You have to, as they say, shh, or get off the pot. So you look around the bathroom and you consider your toothbrush, an action figure, an egg, an axe handle, a Gatorade bottle, a coffee can. You consider all of those objects, anything that could possibly help you. And then when it finally gives way, you feel as if you've been born again.
Ashley, I had to go get it. I had to reach up and get it.
No.
I did everything I could to avoid that. I took everything they said to take.
He had to go get it.
I had to go get it.
His doctor recommended he go get it.
I forcefully removed it.
Oh, no.
Didn't this happen to you guys at like the same time?
It was very close.
Strangely, yes.
Like, would you say like a month apart? Or
yes, I would.
Like that?
That's romantic.
He's such a good friend. I told him the misery I went through, and he said, you're not going to suffer alone. And a month later, he did the same thing.
You really do. For a couple of minutes, you're convinced, well, this is it. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So get back to us, will you, kid?
This is the kind of thing I used to make fun of my uncles for. The hemorrhoids, the constipation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's karma. It's come back to get me.
All right. Now, I don't know about the rest of yous, but I don't remember Dick Tracy about any science projects I ever worked on, or more likely avoided working on when I was a young kid.
Oh, I remember all of them.
You didn't have science fairs?
If we did, I never showed up.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
we had to.
There's some people
Science.
that didn't, Josh, and it always takes me by surprise.
Yeah, we never had them.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, man.
I mean, we probably did, but I never bothered going nor entering a science project into the science fair. I have no memory of it. I remember dissecting a frog, and that's it. Is that science?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it depends on where you do it, but yeah, it's probably
But I was
science.
a terrible student, so anyway, I don't remember anything about science projects.
That's a bummer. They were really fun.
There was always the kid that made the volcano, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, you pour the little stuff in there and it erupts. That was fun to see.
My favorite thing to do was so cliche. I would forget about it until the night before, and my mom would have to go get me one of those big poster boards, those folding boards the night before, and then I'd be up until like midnight doing a project on cheetahs.
How about a 6th grade kid here and the science project she put together? Her project studied and answered this question. Do cat buttholes touch every surface they sit on? Now, it says here in the story, this is a question that no one knew they needed answered. Caden Henry is the name of this 6th grade kid. Unfortunately, her folks have her currently residing in the worst American state of them all. Not that it matters. As most of you know, cats do whatever the hell they want to, which is part of the reason why we dig them so much. They don't care if you're cooking dinner or trying to get comfortable in your bed. If they want to sit summers, they're going to up and do it.
People that I've heard that don't like cats, they mention, well, they put their buttholes on everything.
Right.
Their counter and stuff like that. I've heard that many times.
And their filthy feet because they walk around their litter box.
Walk in the litter.
None of it bothers me. At any rate, the thought of your cat's ass grinding into your pillow when you're not looking does bother some people. And this Caden kid is tuned into all that. So she cut loose with her research. Is a cat's dirt star actually making contact with whatever it sits upon? Now, some of you might be saying, I can't believe that this kid's school allowed her to do a science project involving cat anuses. Well, this kid is homeschooled, which makes the story a little less fun, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. It's a little more fun to picture her wheeling this science project into the gym or wherever they have this. This kid's homeschooled, so it's just her and her mom. Her mother, by the way, has what they call here a PhD in animal behavior with a concentration in felines. So, you know, cats are their thing in that household. Mom is a cat doctor and her daughter, and they have a pile of cats, all different kinds of cats running around the joint. So here's what they did. And for me personally, when I read this part, the story stopped being cute. Here's what they did. The kid and the mom took non-toxic lipstick and applied it to each of their cats' buttholes.
That's disgusting. Don't do that. The cat does not want that.
That's where it stopped being cute for me. I'll take the F, Mom. That's what I would say to my mother if I was being homeschooled at the time. I will take the. I don't care if I'm in 6th grade or 106 years old. You're going to have to get me really drunk to get me to paint a cat's bunghole with lipstick. But anyway, the kid and the mom applied the lipstick on all of their cats' asses and then allowed the terrified and confused cats to run around the house and do whatever cats do. And then the mom and the kid looked around the house for lipstick marks.
Yuck.
Right. Turns out that no, a cat's fart box does not touch every surface cats sit on. Says here, long and medium-haired cats' buttholes made no contact with hard or soft surfaces at all. Short-haired cats made no contact on hard surfaces, but they did see evidence of a short-haired cat leaving a slight smear on some soft bedding. So
cats probably just don't sit down enough to leave the mark. I imagine it's still lightly touches it.
Who's the one who did the science project, Ashley? You or this poor 6th grade kid who's homeschooled by her insane mother?
You know what, Ashley? It's not your fault. Everybody questions science nowadays, and here you are. The most scientific. This is the most important scientific breakthrough of all time.
Ashley, go home today, do your own research, and come back tomorrow.
I'm not allowed to be near cats, so I can't.
Oh, because of the growth inside you?
Because of the incident?
Yeah, that's how I knew. We have a cat. It was my fiance's cat before we met, and so I've never really been a cat person. Mari.
Mari?
Yeah, like Mari. I don't know who named it. Terrible name.
Who named that cat?
I don't know.
Not
Probably
Maury,
his ex. I don't know.
Not Mary, but Mari.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That is the dumbest name for a cat I've ever heard.
Thank you. But she was never like my business, really, and so I haven't always been a huge fan of cats. You guys know this, and when the
they don't like you very much either.
No, they usually don't. The OBGYN was like, yeah, you can't go near her at all. And I was like, this is why I'm not a fan of cats. They're gross, obviously. If you're pregnant and you can't be near them, that's a sign.
You're entitled to your opinion on cats. I want to move on from that. Text your fiance right now, and I want the origin for that cat's stupid name.
I bet it was his ex that named the cat that, because they got the cat together, and that seems like something.
You and your Dana got married, didn't he?
Yeah. He did, yes.
Dana, you and your wife are off the hook for the terribly unoriginal name that your dog has.
Charlie?
Stupid.
Yeah, no, there's 9,000 Charlies in the greater metro area.
But you're off the hook now.
What was the origin of that? You told me once. I forgot.
It was a character in like Sons of Anarchy, I want to say, or an actor from Sons of Anarchy. Some hot stud was named Charlie, and she went with that.
I do want to say, before the cat lovers attack me, that cats are adorable.
Oh.
And I like their little meows and their little faces. But they are dirty.
You made your bed. You sleep in it, Ashley.
But they are dirty. They're just dirty little felines.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Dogs are dirty. Cats are dirty. All pets are dirty. I don't give a rat's. My cat sits right on my chest and takes a nap every day with me. I don't care.
I had to hose down one of my dogs yesterday because the other one accidentally peed on him. I mean, like all over him. It was disgusting.
One dog peed on the other dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was the dog that got peed on. It was kind of his fault. He walked up next to the peeing dog, just completely oblivious, so he could pee. They like to pee next to each other.
Yeah.
And he got. I mean, I'm trying to pull him away and stop it. He got absolutely destroyed.
And they don't care.
No, he didn't seem to care at all.
Great Danes are communal urinators. What'd you find out about this terrible cat name?
So I got the answer from my fiance's mother. She texted me and said it was the ex. It was her doing.
All right.
Always
uncreative.
Well, I've never heard that before. Mari.
It's terrible. So the conclusion was to this cat-ass science project. If you have a short-haired cat and they are lying on, say, some soft pillows, blankets, laundry, then their little balloon knot might grind on those surfaces. Other than that, you don't have anything to worry about. I had high hopes this would be a fun story, and now I just feel like I need to call Child Protective Services.
Oh, geez, Jesus wants to know how Dad got lipstick on his finger.
Oh, girl.
No. Nah.
Oh, geez.
No,
Did Dad somehow?
That's
all over his face.
How did?
That's not right.
Well, sometimes you're investigating one thing as a scientist and you find something completely unexpected.
Well, Mr. Scientist. That's disgusting.
Oh, geez, Jesus usually kills me with a joke pretty much every day.
He's funny. I don't like the guy personally.
You met him?
But he's funny. All right, what time is it? Speaking of pets, some rock stars do grow up to be normal adults, Tommy Lee being one of the glaring exceptions to that theory. But some rock stars do grow up and get over it and get over themselves and become normal adults. And it's always fun and interesting to see where some of these hardcore rocker types end up once they become 45, 50, some odd years old. Jonathan Davis, the lead singer of Korn. And I know what some of you are saying. Some of you are saying, who the F is Korn?
Heard that before.
Jonathan Davis, who years ago admitted on this here radio show that he used to be so mangled on drugs that he has zero memory of recording most of the songs that made them famous.
Oh, it was the opposite. Because he had said, we had asked him about his new record. That's why we're interviewing him. And he said he didn't remember much of it because he wasn't on drugs. I remember being absolutely baffled by that. We questioned him to make sure we heard it right. He just said he wasn't in the same headspace that he usually was. And he said, it's kind of a blur, this whole process.
Because he wasn't
Because
on
he
drugs?
wasn't on drugs.
All right, well, then forget what I said. Jonathan Davis has just dumped a new line of pet accessories and dog apparel on us, and he calls this new line of pet accessories, he calls it his Freak on a Leash collection. Freak on a Leash was the name of an old Korn record or single or both. I can't remember, and neither can Jonathan. So he's looking to sell spiked collars, studded belts and straps and whatnot that make your dog look like it's in a metal band. He's got a gold leather leash, denim harness, so your dog looks like a canine Lemmy Kilmeister walking into the dog park. You heard him right there saying the joy and the love he gets from his dog is like no other. And this gimmick he's got going, the proceeds from all his hard rock dog gear will support a joint called Pup Culture Rescue. And they rescue a dog or two and educate folks on the importance of pet adoption. He launched this line of dog products, it says here, back in 20 and 22. So it's been around for a while, but he's got some updated stuff now. You can check out all the products on the Korn official website.
Is it funny how much it's changed? I bet back in the day, I mean, not knowing these guys personally, they might have thought it was silly if somebody came up with something like this down the road. You know, with all the coffees and the different branded things that some of these, heavy metal bands or hard rock bands are coming out with this. Like Metallica, all their stuff, the different brews and things like that. It's a lot different.
Yeah, this is fun. Here's a guy who used to pass out cold on top of strippers every night and wake up with no memory of how he got there, and he's covered in somebody else's blood, and now he's selling dog collars. Good for him. He's been lucky enough to experience all of it.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, that might have been the best pass I've ever seen. He's a special player. Obviously, you see all the plays he makes, how hard he works. But, for him to have the poise and to make that pass right on my tape, it was unbelievable.
That's actually rude. I insisted on your first day in trouble.
Wow. I've never liked that Matt Boldy kid.
What?
I don't like him.
Seems like a sweetheart.
No, I've never liked him.
For that reason, that he seems very nice?
He doesn't seem very nice. You heard the audio. Here, Matt Boldy gets a microphone stuck in his face in the locker room the other day. And he's going on and on about how great a passer the Russian kid is. Oh, it's the best pass I've ever seen. Standing right next to him is your homeboy, Marcus Foligno, who assisted on Boldy's very first goal, and Boldy doesn't say dick about Foligno. You see what I'm saying? He's a selfish little kid. And he needs to get straightened out.
You imagine he's asked about that pass specifically. He's like, well, before I get into that, I want to take you back to my very first goal in the NHL.
I think Foligno, you heard Marcus was not happy with that. He cursed at him.
He was quick with that.
He was. That was very funny.
Yeah, I'm the guy who's...
He's a funny dude.
I assisted on your first friggin' goal, and you're over here falling all over the Russian kid. That's going to be a big deal tonight. 8 o'clock tonight at the XL Energy Center, Game 3 of the Vegas Pigs series. I think somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
You might be onto something.
On the ice, in the stands, on the street, out front of the rink, someone's going to get their ass kicked tonight. And we're going to talk to Marcus about it coming up in a little less than an hour, right around 8 a.m. We'll talk to Marcus Foligno all about this deal. The Twins won last night. There's plenty of basketball to watch tonight and all that. NFL draft.
Woohoo.
It was fun when they were pumping that bit on WWE.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
What were they doing? I didn't see it.
Well, they've had a draft for years now in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if I remember right, Michael Cole continued the gimmick like for 4 or 5 months after their draft, anytime he had something to say that he thought was important, they would play that music, and he would get up. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and he had the little podium next to the announcer table.
Yeah, he had all kinds of official announcement, and the crowd was just go nuts.
That's awesome.
Like, seriously, again?
Yeah, no. One more announcement real quick. Michael Cole.
And he was very, just full of himself, too. He'd walk up there like he was so important.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of his bit, right? I don't watch like you guys do, but he's kind of like that.
Oh, I haven't watched in years. But, yes, when he was a prominent character, I don't even know if he's a prominent character anymore.
He still does the commentating, but he doesn't do the whole, kind of heel routine that he did back in the day.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Because, when I watched him, remember, it seemed like he was just not impressed by anything. He seemed always angry.
Yeah.
Like you said, pretty arrogant.
Yeah, they've kind of softened that character a little bit from what I've seen.
Well, kind of like fans of Barry Manilow have a nickname for their fan base. They call themselves Fanilows.
I knew one.
I forgot
My
about
friend's
that.
dad was a giant Fanilo.
Did you know that Michael Cole's fans have a collective name?
Was it the coal miner?
They're the coal miners. Yeah.
So dumb.
There you go.
I kind of like
great.
it. Yeah, I like when there's little nicknames like that.
We were the Onion or the Green Onion Band, and we called people that would come to our show the Onion Ring.
Okay, that's great.
That's funny.
I can't take credit for that. One of the guys came up with that.
Forgot about that one. All right, we got to get going again. Like I said, Marcus Foligno is going to join us at 8, but at 7:30, Randy Shaver will dive into the mix, and we'll cover every damn thing. Josh's news report is coming up next.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nice. 93X.
Nice. Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back on the Give Them Lala podcast.
It's very a lot. You want the headline. Here is my interview with Vicky Gunvalson. Who did the biggest number on you?
I'm not friends with Tamara anymore, which is fine.
Do you feel like you guys can repair?
No.
Stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Give Them Lala.
Unhinged, but also amazing TV.
Get ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
There were some witnesses there who saw this, who broke up the fight, told the police that they believed that they hadn't stopped you. You would have set the man on fire.
A 28-year-old Texas man made a makeshift blowtorch with a Lysol can, lighter, and Gatorade bottle filled with gasoline. In an attempt to assault a coworker he believed made an offensive comment about his mother.
Imagine if you did that every time.
I wonder what that would feel like. The suspect and the victim both worked at a solar company in Houston, but were on different assembly lines. The victim was in the parking lot Monday when the suspect approached and asked his name. The suspect pulled out a Gatorade bottle and started spraying gasoline on him. He then tried to ignite the lighter and Lysol spray can to create a blowtorch and chase the victim across the lot. After the victim fell, the suspect straddled him and kept trying to light the homemade blowtorch, but it wouldn't spark. He said he was going to mess him up because he was tired about comments the other man made about his mom in Sudan before repeatedly punching him in the face. The victim, clearly confused and considerably bruised, told police he didn't know the suspect or his mother, and he'd never been to Sudan. Luckily, before the situation could combust any further, bystanders eventually extinguished the encounter, but not before the victim ended up with a potentially fractured ankle, eye irritation from the gasoline, and a face that had seen better days.
What in the hell was said about his Sudanese mother?
Never said. I don't even know she was Sudanese. He just heard that somebody in Sudan was talking trash about his mom. Police arrested the suspect Tuesday for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Well, that would just scare the hell out of me.
Yeah. I mean, at least I'd want to be guilty of some pretty rad caps on his mom.
Yeah.
But he had no idea what this guy was talking about.
I would be very frightened by that.
We now know more about Tuesday's tense theatrics at Fairview Southdale Hospital in Edina, where a failed attempt at family bonding had relatives opting for handguns over hugs. The lockdown began when a 65-year-old man visiting his ailing mother disarmed his sister in the room, pointed his own gun at her, and assaulted her, police said.
Tough crowd.
At least 30 officers in full gear with weapons raced into the hospital through an east entrance while armored trucks were positioned outside. Law enforcement from multiple agencies swarmed the hospital about 3 p.m. and arrested the suspect around an hour later without incident.
During the initial investigation, officers spent most of their time really focusing on safety, security of the hospital and locking it down. And then also during that time, they learned relatively quickly that the suspect involved in this case had left the area or left the hospital.
A police report released yesterday said the man was apprehended about 28 miles away. Surveillance footage and witness statements confirmed the sequence of events, and officers later obtained warrants to search the man's pickup truck where they found ammunition. As of midday after yesterday afternoon, charges were pending.
I'd be nervous to get involved in a potluck dinner with that family.
I'd stay away from any family gatherings, that's for sure. They were arguing over who was going to be power of attorney. I'd imagine Mom didn't want it to end like that.
Once the wine gets flowing on Thanksgiving to that house, it gets ugly.
Irony threw the first punch last week in a Texas park where a fight broke out during a Stop the Violence rally.
Yeah, that'll happen.
The boxing event Friday night, titled Guns Down, Gloves Up, Stop the Violence, drew a large crowd ranging in age from 18 to 80. And it was meant to promote peace and reduce violence.
I can't even tell you the nature of when or why this would happen. It started out well.
Authorities haven't confirmed what caused that fight or if anyone was arrested.
It started out well, she said.
It did. It was a great event at first.
That's ridiculous.
People started the violence at the Stop the Violence event.
You can't help it at those boxing and MMA events.
Oh, I've been scared being in a crowd at some of those.
I ran to my car once after the event was over. I just ran to my car. Because
I don't blame
you can just feel it. You can feel it coming at those events.
I've never been to an MMA event, like live in person, but I went to go watch a fight once at a bar. And even just being around all these MMA guys, they were all looking for a reason. And I remember just keeping to myself and not making eye contact or saying anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the times I know you're talking about, Nick, was I used to go with you or at the same time, you know, it was all when everyone was wearing the super tight Ed Hardy shirts.
Yep. Oh, no.
Everyone was learning how to fight. And, boy, those crowds would get absolutely worked up.
Yeah, Josh and I were the only two guys in the building that weren't snorting blow in the parking lot beforehand, too.
A 60-year-old Florida man just can't seem to stay away from fake badges and flashing lights.
I'm tired of these pretend cops guys.
This one's a repeat offender.
You know I can't stand these pretend make-believe cop guys.
Albert Dolan was arrested this week again after trying to pull someone over, pretending to be a law enforcement officer.
Someone get this guy a role in the community theater. You know what I mean? Let him portray a cop. It obviously means a hell of a lot to him.
Which is something he's been busted for at least 4 times now.
I was shocked that, he's done this before. He has this vehicle that looks like an undercover police car. How could he get away with this continually?
A driver called 911 Monday after noticing a vehicle tailing him with flashing yellow lights, trying to mimic a traffic stop. The car had a push bar on the front and looked enough like an unmarked patrol vehicle that the victim pulled over. That's when Dolan approached the car and asked for the man's license.
He got out of his car, approached me after a minute or so, and asked for my license. And he didn't have any identification, wasn't in any uniform.
The driver, suspicious at that point, asked to see a badge or ID, but Dolan had neither. Instead, he reportedly said he had other cars to get to and drove off.
I asked him again when he got back to my car if I could see his badge or some ID. He gave up and said, well, forget it. More or less, I've got other cars to get.
But the victim wouldn't let it go. He followed Dolan, pulled up next to him at a light, asked for identification again, and managed to jot down the license plate number. Authorities used that info to track him down. They found a dark-colored Ford Explorer outfitted with light bars along with windshield and side window lights, plus the push bar the victim described. During the arrest, Dolan denied impersonating an officer, but according to authorities, it's his fourth arrest for the same offense, with previous charges dating back to 94, 2017, and 2018.
Just go through the training, become a cop, man.
I'm sure he's been turned away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was going to say, he's not passing that psychological exam at all.
I'd imagine he has tried and failed.
That's probably one of the questions on the psych exam is, have you ever pretended to be a police officer? And if you say yes, yeah, you're done.
Is this a case of arrested development where in his brain, he's still 9 and he wants to play cops and robbers with the other kids in the neighborhood?
Yeah, the guy kind of looks like he probably hasn't evolved much past 5th grade. A 32-year-old man from Lincoln, Nebraska took a scenic yet severely illegal route Sunday, choosing to drive the wrong way down a one-way street while allegedly marinated in enough booze to pickle a porcupine. Police say that Lord O'Kang was driving the wrong way down a one-way street late Sunday night when they pulled him over and noticed the strong alcohol coming from the vehicle. At that point, things only got worse for Lord.
Lord O'Kang.
O'Kang, yeah.
Oh, he's Irish.
A quick check revealed Lord had an active warrant for his arrest. When they asked him to step out of the vehicle, they said he stumbled, had trouble keeping his balance, and became combative. As they escorted him to the police cruiser, Lord's behavior got worse. He refused to keep walking and even tried to keep the officer from closing the door by jamming his leg in it. Once inside, Lord began kicking the partition and hurling profanities, which can happen when you're at a .275, which he was, and officers later learning a witness had been drinking with Lord all nighty. But Lord is an experienced drunk driver, as this was his third DUI, a holy trinity of moronic depravity. Lord's license had already been revoked after his second offense in 2022, and he wasn't even eligible to have it resurrected until next month. Lord's now praying to have some mercy from the court from behind bars.
They didn't send him in to spin dry?
No, I just took him to jail.
I'll be.
29-year-old Minnesota man was arrested Tuesday in Watertown after taking a rather monumental approach to vandalism, hurling statues through storefront windows.
Statues?
Police say the arrest followed a report from a business owner who discovered their windows shattered.
Storefront windows?
Investigators quickly determined that rocks and chunks broken off from statues had been hurled through the glass.
The glass?
Causing around $2,000 in damage. When officers tracked down the suspect, they found him carrying pieces of the damaged statues, along with several other statues that appeared to have been taken from headstones, possibly at a cemetery.
Authorities say it was discovered thrown rocks and broken pieces of statues through multiple businesses' windows. It was found with multiple statues in his possession that appeared to be decorations from headstones.
While police were dealing with that mess, another business chimed in with a fresh report of smashing things into smithereens with figurines, bringing the total known cost to $3,100. Now authorities are asking for the public's help. They're trying to identify the rightful owners of those statues and are especially interested in any unusual activity spotted at Mount Hope Cemetery.
I've always wanted to throw like a rock or something through a window, not vandalizing somebody else's property, of course, but that always has seemed so satisfying to me. Have you guys ever done it?
Your day will come.
It will?
Yeah, one day you will throw a rock through probably when the apocalypse happens and you'll need to get into the store to get medicine or something. Have I ever thrown a rock through a window?
Yeah, or something like that, some type of object.
I don't think so.
Just like in a dumpster, like some windows in a dumpster. Tried that before.
Was it satisfying?
Very.
Huh.
Yeah,
Go to one of those smashing rooms, Ashley, where you can just break stuff. Break old TVs and computer monitors and stuff with a baseball bat.
Oh, I would love that.
Or just down the hall.
Yeah, we have plenty of stuff here.
Just pick a KQ studio.
We do have a sledgehammer somewhere.
Ashley, when I was about an 8th grader, I went over to my bro's place. This is what we did back in 8th grade. Even in the dead of winter, we would walk to my buddy's place, and then we'd just kind of walk around the neighborhood all night long looking for something to steal or something to break. And so I'm in my pal's driveway, and there's 4 or 5 of us gathered up to do our nightly, derelict walk around the neighborhood. And my buddy, it was cold, winter night, and my buddy says, before we've even left his parents' property, he says, "Are you guys ready to run?" And we said, "What?" And he picked up a frozen orange that was on his parents' property. Someone dropped an orange out of the grocery bag or something. And he picked it up and he threw it through his neighbor's picture window.
Were you ready to run?
I was not ready to run.
But he told you to get ready to run.
He asked if we were ready to run. His neighbor's window, right across the street, just, Papa! Took the whole thing out. We're running down. Yeah.
Did they ever figure it out?
Oh, they knew who he was.
Did they?
They always knew, but they could never really pin it on him. He would just deny. But they always knew who he was and what he was doing. Yeah.
Authorities in Pennsylvania charged a 49-year-old man for groping a gas station employee. According to police, Keith Poplinski is accused of inappropriately touching a male employee cleaning coffee machines, which is grounds for arrest. Surveillance footage shows Poplinski lingering in the store while waiting for a food order. Then, more horny than hungry, he began repeatedly touching the employee's privates despite being told to stop.
Oh, no.
Thwarted, Poplinski shifted his attention from the employee's gland to his hand as he was seen on video attempting to shake the employee's hand in an awkward and perhaps misguided attempt to downplay what had just happened. The victim told police he didn't know Poplinski personally, though he had recognized him as a regular. The gas station groin grabber is facing misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct and open lewdness.
Don't hand me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. That's what the Georgia Satellites taught us back in, I think, 85, Josh.
What a weird deal, though. Like, hey, we're cool, right? Just go shake his hand?
Yeah, I know I was rubbing your Johnson there against your will a minute ago, but I mean, we're all good, right?
Yeah, I heard you say stop like 4 or 5 times when I kept going for it, but there's no need to involve the authorities, right?
In my day, we would settle things like this with a handshake.
Right. Yeah. No harm done.
Right.
All 10 episodes of the 5th and final season of the Netflix series You premieres today.
Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah, you're a fan, right? I knew you liked this one. Dana, aren't you into this show as well?
I watched the first season or 2, and it just got a little over the top for me. I decided to punt.
It is pretty repetitive.
Mm-hmm. He keeps getting away with it.
Yeah. I don't know about this time, though, Dana.
This season sees Joe return to New York City, where he attempts to live a, quote, happily ever after. However, his perfect life is threatened by past actions and new characters. And tonight on ABC and ESPN, round 1 of the NFL Draft. Stop by your local Culver's on Monday, May 12th, while participating Minnesota and Wisconsin locations will donate 10% of sales to the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund. Randy, known for his great buns, Culver's for their great burgers, so it's the perfect match for this great cause. Culver's will continue their support through May 25th by rounding up sales to benefit the Randy Shaver Cancer Research and Community Fund as well. For a full list of participating locations, you can check out 93x.com. Cedric the Entertainer turned 61 today.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's funny.
I've always loved that guy.
Godspeed to Sits on Baby Jesus. It's field trip day. She's taking 24 preschoolers swimming. And she said she's questioning why she does this to herself.
Swimming? Oh, never mind. There's indoor water parks.
Oh, you think they're going out to the lake?
It's way too cold.
Good luck to want to be dominated by goth muscle mommy Jesus, who's donating a kidney tomorrow. What a nice thing to do. In P.S., he said if any goth muscle mommies are listening, he's going to be very vulnerable after his donation.
I'm sure we have a few.
He's looking for some comfort, if that's something you can provide.
Goth muscle mommies. I have not heard that slogan.
That's a new one to me, too. A goth muscle mommy.
Oh, they're in. They're all the rave now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Are you talking about, is this like a porno thing?
No.
Oh.
No. Just, some muscle mommies.
They're kind of goth?
Very, very strong women.
Okay.
Give off maternal vibes and then throw some goth on that.
Okay.
And that's his thing. All right, well, yeah, hopefully he can find a handful of them to give him a sponge bath, whatever you need after something like
that. Or a good beating.
And that's 93X News. Randy Shaver.
You're a creep. What are you doing? What happened to you?
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
What kind of a f***ing loser
just sits there watching round after round. The Jets are up next. That's like going to a graduation ceremony where you don't know anybody who's graduating. It's just sitting there. They're going to have the whole list the next day. You got to sit there and watch that shit.
That dude's right. Who's that, Carrot Top?
Bill Burr. That's Bill Burr.
That's Bill Burr.
Well, that sounds just like Carrot Top.
Well, they're both redheads.
The NFL draft. Hi, Randy Shaver.
Good morning.
Yeah, I've never understood the draw of sitting and watching names read out loud. It boggles my mind that sports drafts are televised. It boggles my mind that that's a thing. But let us have everything that's been on your mind over the last couple weeks on the NFL draft. Let's hear it, Randy Shaver. What do you got?
I'm going to watch it tonight.
No, you're not. You're watching the hockey game.
No, I'm going to watch the draft.
I probably will too, to be honest. I watched it last year and I liked it.
Instead of the hockey game?
I liked watching it last year.
I will flip back and forth, but I pay attention probably more than most people just because I have interest in certain players and where they end up. And I just think there's some intrigue and drama in the draft. I think there's, teams trading and moving, and there's players that I'm interested to see where they land. And I want to see if the Vikings keep their pick or if they trade back. There's just a lot going on.
I do wish they picked faster. That was my one complaint last year. I was like, they should get like 60 seconds.
Well, the first round is always slower because there's just a little bit more to it. There's more equity involved in the first round picks. Once you get to tomorrow night and certainly on Saturday, it goes a lot faster. So
they should have to pick the players without any research at all.
Yes.
Just a blind draw.
Just based on their name and their face.
And then maybe you'll hear a GM tomorrow say, I didn't know the guy was a plumber. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pick a player on your uncle's advice. Yeah.
The draft, Randy Shaver. It's on television tonight.
Yep.
What's the Vikings situation? You said they might do this or do that.
Well, they don't have very many picks, as we all know, because they traded a lot of them. They only have 4 total picks. They sit at number 24. It's interesting. They could keep it, make it, and choose a player. They could trade down and try to get an extra pick. We've seen when Rick Spielman was here, we saw this team trade back quite a few times in order to accumulate draft choices. So we'll see what they end up doing tonight. But,
do you have money on this? Are you gambling on this?
Ingrid, postal worker, she just wants to know, can you place bets on draft?
You can. Yes, absolutely. You can. Absolutely.
Is this all about fantasy football for you?
To some degree, I'm interested in the running back from Boise State, where he ends up going tonight. But more just, I just like the draft.
You just like watching young men in suits walk up and shake hands with an older man in a suit, and
I will say I think the NFL draft is kind of silly. It's over the top and kind of just. It's blown up way too much. But it is fun, though, when you see a guy who is supposed to go 2 or 3, and he just is sitting there checking his phone.
Sure.
He's all of a sudden picked 27, 28.
That's why you watch
that.
Dana,
he's still sitting there all awkward.
If I want to see a loser checking his phone, I'll go to my neighborhood bar.
Wasn't that kind of the case with Dallas Turner? If I remember right, he looked furious that he kept getting passed over until the Vikings finally took him.
Well, it happened with Aaron Rodgers back in the day. When Green Bay finally took him, because he was expected to be a top 5, and he just kept sliding and sliding and sliding.
Right.
Young men in suits walking up and shaking hands with an older man in a suit. That's all it is. But speaking of Aaron Rodgers, now a lot of Vikings fans say that the Vikings have been focusing on the draft, and then once that's all over with, then they will turn their attention to signing Karen to be the backup or starting quarterback here in Minnesota.
Well, first of all, Karen's not going to sign to be the backup. So if you think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, starter, whatever. Give him the starter job. Kid from Michigan's never proven a damn thing. So sure, give Karen the starting job.
Okay, well, I don't think that's going to happen either.
I think
you are correct. The Vikings are going to wait till after the draft to sign a veteran quarterback. That is true, but
okay.
I don't think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Who is the projected number one pick tonight?
Tonight's Cam Ward, the quarterback from Florida State, will be the number one pick by Tennessee. They've already basically said that that's what they're going to do tonight. From after that, though, I mean, to me, here's the real drama, is Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
Where does Shedeur Sanders land tonight?
Okay, that would be the son of
Deion.
Colonel Sanders. Oh, Deion Sanders. The son of Deion Sanders.
Because at the very beginning of this whole process, he was projected to be a top 3 pick because quarterback, and there are teams in the top 3 positions that are quarterback needy, Cleveland and the Giants, but his draft stock has fallen over time, and so now it's really kind of a crapshoot. Even if he might not even be a first-round pick, which would be just incredible. So
hilarious.
Yeah,
there's a first round.
Oh, his dad would be so angry.
They're saying if he doesn't go 2 or 3, the next most likely option is at 23, and if he doesn't get taken there, he might not be in the first round.
That's correct.
That is drama.
And I don't think he's going to go 2 or 3. I don't see that.
I wish I could give this person credit. The text disappeared, but his idea was that fans should be able to get 1 pick. So your team has 4 picks like the Vikings. Fans should be able to have 1 of those, and fan vote tells you who to get.
Well, you knock yourself out. That's a great idea. Knock yourself out, Randy Shaver, with all that tonight.
I had to cover a draft party once back in 2011, and it was ended up being one of the best nights of my life.
Oh,
the Vikings picked packed house at Winter Park, the big practice facility, tons of fans, beer drinking all afternoon.
Were they wearing their...
Is that the night where the Vikings traded back and didn't have a pick?
No, it was the night that they took Christian Ponder, and the amount of booze and beers getting thrown and grown men just knocking chairs over and storming out of the place. It was hilarious.
And they took it personally?
Oh, they were pissed.
Boy, were they proven wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to one draft party when I was too young to understand how wrong it was. And it was at Target Center. I'm going to go ahead and say 1991, 92, when the Timberwolves drafted.
Well, that's Christian Laettner.
No! It was when the Timberwolves...
J.R. Ryder?
We'll just change the subject then if you're not going to allow me to finish my sentence.
Well, I like guessing.
I know. I'm kidding. That was when the Timberwolves drafted Luke Longley.
Oh, gosh, Luke Longley.
And the crowd was pissed because I wanted...
Well, they were mad about a lot of those picks early on. Felton Spencer, Luke Longley.
God rest his soul.
Even actually Pooh Richardson.
Well, they got hosed by the lottery year after year.
Yes, they did. They certainly did.
I wanted the Timberwolves to draft Stacey Augmon. But instead, they drafted Luke Long. Bad news from the National Football League. Steve McMichael has died.
Yes.
Former Chicago Bears defensive tackle, of course, a big member of that 1985 club that a lot
Hall
of folks,
of Famer. Yeah.
A lot of folks consider the greatest defense ever put together was the 1985 Chicago Bears. Help me out now with the front four. You had Steve McMichael.
Dan Hampton.
You did say help.
Yeah.
I did.
You asked for help.
You had Richard Dent. Who am I missing?
The Fridge, right?
William the Refrigerator Perry.
Yeah.
Steve McMichael had ALS.
Yes, he did.
And
he had it for a long time.
He was only 67 years old.
Yeah.
Also, of course, former member of the Four Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
He did jump into the world of television wrestling there for a stretch of time after his football career ended. His family recently put him in hospice, and very quickly he passed away.
Oh, that happened. They pulled the tube, his breathing tube.
Oh.
So they made the decision that they were going to let him go.
Oh, I didn't know it was that type of a situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate. He was way too young to go.
Oh, for sure. And to go that way, that's just so difficult to watch. It's just hard.
Is everyone... The Fridge is still around.
Yes, he is.
Dan Hampton?
I believe so.
Richard Dent?
I believe so.
All right.
Yeah. I believe so.
He had guys like Wilbert Montgomery at linebacker. Of course, Mike Singletary.
Yep.
Leslie Frazier was one of their defensive backs. Gary Fensick.
Yes.
I remember that team very well. I'm not afraid to admit that I hated that team with the white-hot passion of 1,000 suns, specifically because of Jim McMahon.
You weren't doing the Super Bowl shuffle?
No. I hated it.
I bet you did.
It sickened me. But that because I was a 14-year-old Vikings fan. Sorry to hear about the passing of Steve. They had a great team.
They did. They were dominant.
Speaking of health problems, what the hell is this? Tony Oliva and Kent Herbeck are both recovering from recent strokes.
Yes.
I didn't know anything about this until this morning. Is this the news just broke on this, Josh? Or
I just saw it yesterday.
Yeah, Patrick Royce wrote about it last night.
He was the first person I saw write about it.
Yeah, it's really kind of funny because I texted Kent a week ago because he every year signs a bat for my golf gala.
Right.
And I texted him and said, hey, any chance that you might be able to sign a bat for me? I could pick it up. And he got back to me like he always does and says, you know what? I can't get to it right now because I just had surgery on something about surgery on my knee or something like that.
Right.
And I said, okay, hey, no problem. And then I see this yesterday. I saw it on X actually first yesterday. And I went, what is that? Of course, your heart sinks for both. I mean, Tony's 86, right?
Yes.
But it sounds like both of them are recovering and they're going to be okay.
Tony Oliva is 86, Herbeck is 64, and they had strokes within days of each other.
Which is so ironic because they are so close.
That is bizarre.
Yes, because Herbeck, that was Herbeck's favorite player, was Tony Oliva growing up.
In this Patrick Royce article, Herbeck tells a funny little story. Now pay attention because this is good. Herbeck said when he grew up playing baseball in Bloomington in the mid-'60s, the uniforms that they wore out on the ball field were just plain white T-shirts, and that was it. His mother sewed a number 6 on the back of Kent's shirt in honor of his favorite player, Tony Oliva. And Kent says right here in this article, he says, that's how far back I go with Tony Oliva being my Twins' hero.
Yeah.
And then Herbeck paused and said, even with all that said, Tony was not enough of a hero for me to want to have a stroke just because he had one.
So he's in good spirits.
Yeah. He is in good spirits. I actually texted him last night and said, hey, I hope you're doing okay. And he sent me a couple of thumbs up last night. So it just kind of makes you stop though, right? Because these guys, not so much Herbie, he's 64, but Tony's 86. Rod Carew is somewhere in that range, 84, 85.
Right.
You start to, you hold your breath. Jim Marshall, the Purple People Eaters are all still around, but they're in their mid 80s. You just kind of hold your breath because these are guys that obviously laid the groundwork for such incredible moments in time, sports-wise, in the Twin Cities. So,
yeah, and it all started very subtly, I guess. I know most of us dudes, we hate going to the doctor. I get it.
Yep.
I'm like everybody else. I hate going to the doctor, and I often think it's not necessary. But according to the story, Herbeck woke up and just felt kind of funny and noticed he was slurring a little bit. Even his wife said, just go back to bed. And he said, no, I think you need to call 911. And sure as hell,
it happened.
He was getting all strokey.
It happened right after he had, 2 days after he had the surgery on his knee, is when that happened. Yeah, I've said this before. Guys are stupid. We make up excuses not to go see the doctor. Everybody, regardless of age, should get a physical once a year.
Thank you for saying that.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, we try to push it, don't we?
It prevents it prevents so many issues, and it's not that hard. It's an hour out of your life to go have somebody check you out.
It's 1 hour and 1 or 2 fingers.
My fiance hasn't been to the doctor in almost a decade, and I've begged him to go. Just go, get a physical, get checked out.
Yeah, be a dad, dude.
Exactly. Thank you.
My brother won't go to the doctor either, which is I'm going to win that bet. I'm going to outlive the sumbitch. He won't go to the doctor. Herbie and Tony Oliva, heroes around here. I'm glad to hear they're both doing okay.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, one more win for the Twins, and they're going to be into the double digits.
Look at that.
They continued their routine beating of the Chicago White Sox last night at Target Field. 6-3 was the final. Big dong hit in the what the hell inning was this? When seventh inning. Buxton hit a big 2-run shot that kind of put the ball game away.
How about
Buxton swinging a drive into left center and deep.
Get out of here.
Back it goes and gone. A 7th inning buck truck sighting here at Target Field. Byron adds on with a 2-out, 2-run homer, and the Twins expand the lead to 3. It's a 6-3 ball game.
Look at me, Cubby. I'm doing the buck truck.
I love it.
Got to be careful with that.
What, I'm going to have a stroke?
No, be careful with the name there.
Yeah, I could get you in some trouble.
I know what the hell I'm doing around.
How about Keishel, though, last night?
Yeah, with that terrible error?
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm just busting his balls. He had a terrible error.
The stolen bases.
No, he's great.
5 stolen bases in his, I think he tied a major league record last night.
I think you're right.
The kid can play, man. And they let him play second base last night, too. You're right. He had a fielding error
That was
last night.
embarrassing as hell.
Yep. He had a fielding error last night. But you know what? God, I love his enthusiasm.
I like him, too.
Yeah.
I mean, last night, that play at second base, that was a rookie being a rookie, is what that was. That's gonna happen. It was embarrassing. He got hit by a pitch, too. It looked like it hurt. But no, this Keishel kid is looking good. One more today with the White Sox. They'll wrap up the series with a day game. They're going with Chris Paddock. I know we heard rumors about Pablo Lopez, but it's going to be Chris Paddock, according to what I read this morning.
Is there any way the White Sox can just stick around through the end of May or beginning of May?
No, they gotta move on.
Can we just keep them here?
I keep saying how much it sucks that the White Sox are so awful, and we now have the new schedule, but we don't get to play them like 45 times this season.
I know.
Cubby, do the buck truck for me real quick.
Yeah, let's see a buck truck.
Oh. Yeah. Well, you look more like the bushwhackers back.
Yeah, you did. Oh, that'll take a toll on your lats.
Yeah, you got to have strong lats to do the buck truck. Maybe Glenn Perkins will be right. This will start something special for the Twins. We'll find out. This is really fascinating. Who found these statistics on Major League Baseball teams and how many babies they pump out?
I did.
This is really interesting. Very random, Randy Shaver, but the Major League team that has had the most in-season babies, now, this would be in the last 14 years. Back in 2011, Major League Baseball came up with their paternity list.
Oh, God.
Right? You're not injured.
Yep.
But you're not playing because you've created a baby and you had to go off into the hospital. Right. The paternity.
Yes. They let you leave for like 3 or 4 days or whatever it is. Yeah.
So in the last 14 seasons, I think I have the arithmetic correct. Which big league team has produced the most babies? The answer? The Cleveland Guardians.
Really?
They're slinging
Fun
it.
times in Cleveland today.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Fun times in Cleveland.
Once you sign with the Guardians, you just sling rod. And where it lands, you don't care. Since 2011, the Cleveland Guardians have produced 27 babies.
Wow.
I love this.
That's like 2 a year.
This is so stupid. But
it is the dumbest. I mean, they keep track of everything.
And you know who couldn't get laid in a morgue? The L.A. Angels.
Really?
Yeah. They've only produced 6 babies in the last 14 years.
Either that or they're very into safe sex. Maybe that's part of it.
In L.A.?
They wear the most condoms.
In L.A., you think?
I think...
the STDs.
The clientele, yeah.
Yeah, They probably don't quite have the STDs in Cleveland that they do in Los Angeles. Could that be a major factor?
I think so. They've festered longer in L.A. than they have in Cleveland.
Oh, that is so fascinating to me. Now, the majority of teams are in the teens, like the Twins. Where are they? They've produced 18 babies in the last 14 baseball seasons.
Tied for 11th.
Tied for 11th, you say. Okay. But the Guardians, just ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. They're just knocking boots with everything in sight, pumping out babies like it's their job.
I wonder if, I wish they had more details on this. I wonder if any player was out at the same time for a couple of different women that had babies at the same time. It seems more like an NFL thing.
Yeah, that's probably more of an NFL problem.
Yeah.
But I love that, Randy, you got to see the chart. Did we put this up on our website or anything?
I don't think I sent it to Ash.
Okay. Well, Randy, maybe you'll bump into it. The chart, has all the team logos and the number of babies. Yep. And up towards the top where the Guardians are, where they have 27 babies, the chart says lots of babies. An arrow points all the way down to the Angels, who have only created 6 children, and the chart says not that many babies.
Really spelled it out for us there.
I'll send it to you, Ashley.
Okay.
That's fun. We're going to talk to Marcus Foligno here in a few minutes. We better get the rest of this crap out of the way. Some basketball fans are upset that television personality Skip Bayless called Anthony Edwards overrated. You got to consider the source. This is what the guy does to get folks to pay attention to his television show.
Right.
I'm sorry. Anthony Edwards is way overrated as a basketball player, as a winner, as a true superstar, given all those TV commercials, given all the hype, he's young Jordan, given all of his has arrived as a superstar status. I'm telling you, he's way, way, way overrated.
Ugh.
Rated.
This annoyed me.
Take yourself more seriously.
Fair enough, whatever, I don't care. But some basketball fans are upset. Results from the NBA playoff last night. Boston won. Cleveland won. Houston beat Golden State. That's exciting for me. And Brad Ryder's old drinking buddy, Jimmy Butler, suffered what they're calling here a pelvic contusion after a hard fall in the first quarter. He got undercut while going for a rebound, and he landed right on his ass neck.
Man, come on, man. Jimmy Butler is undercut, and that fall hurts.
Amin Thompson got tripped. He obviously didn't do that on purpose, but that is scary and dangerous. And Jimmy Butler landed right on that tailbone.
You guys know the ass neck, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of between your lower back and your tailbone. That's the ass neck.
Okay.
That looked like it hurt.
Yeah. That hurt so bad.
That was really scary.
So the Warriors are crossing their fingers that he's able to play Game 3, and they're the only ones.
And I'm glad the announcers made mention the dude did not do it intentionally whatsoever.
Of course not.
No, take a wild guess who shoved that player into Jim Butler.
Draymond Green?
Yes.
Yes.
Typical.
The Houston Rockets fans got the F you Draymond chant going last night.
Nice.
Rockets fans letting Draymond Green how they feel about him. And he's encouraging them as he usually does.
Every old ladies, little kids, they were all dumping. It was beautiful. They showed a 5-year-old in the front row, and he was going with the F you Draymond.
Oh, my God.
It was beautiful. His dad taught him that right on the spot. This is how we say it, son. We say F you Draymond.
And really hit that F-bomb, too.
Say it. Did everyone see the video of LeBron James peeking to see if the referee had fallen for his latest flop?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And it's up on 93x.com.
He looked like a little kid.
Dude, this was in the Wolves game the other night. Julius Randle knocked into LeBron. And, of course, LeBron acted like he was hit by a bus. And he's lying on his back, and he's holding his face. Oh, God, no. Oh, my face. Randy, you got to see the picture on our website.
I did see it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, everybody, it's so fun. No. And you see LeBron kind of just peeks under his hand. Is he calling a foul?
He reminds me of my grandson, who's 1 year old.
It reminds me of the first time I saw naked breasts on a movie.
Oh.
I was at a sleepover, and my buddy's parents rented Stripes. And at one point, these girls get topless.
Yes, they do.
And they told us to cover our eyes, which I did. But I did kind of take a little peek through the slits of my fingers there.
Yeah, you got to do what you
I had the
do.
same look on my face.
And what did young Josh think when he saw that?
I was very intimidated. And there was some guilt afterwards. I almost told the mom, hey, I peeked.
Of course,
She told me not to, and I did.
You don't have to admit everything to the adults, Josh. When you were a kid, you thought you had to tell the adults everything.
Oh, everything, yeah.
Or you'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
We don't want little Cubby or adult Cubby to get in trouble. Hey, Game 3 of the Pigs Golden Knight Series is in town tonight at the X, starting at 8 o'clock. Here's a guy who we hope will drop the mitts just because we ask him to. It's Marcus Foligno. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning, guys.
What do you think so far, man?
It's been good. It's been a great series, and we're excited for Game 3 and having it back in our barn.
Yeah, man, back in town. Have you ever dropped the mitts just because a bro asked you to or something?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've been someone that says, hey, can you do this for me? I hate this guy. And I said, okay, I'll think about it. So.
I knew it. Like one of your old teammates from the early days calls you and says, hey, look, would you drop this guy on his ass? And you said, all right, whatever, I'll do. So you have. I knew it.
Yeah, friendship piece, that's how it goes.
Well, we're asking.
Yeah.
We're asking. Nice job so far getting a split on the road. There have been a few listeners texting in saying you have to go after some guy. I don't know if you want to talk about it on the radio. You don't want to start anything, but our listeners are. Do you mind if I say a name out loud? Our listeners are specifically targeting one player for the Vegas Golden Knights.
I'm guessing it's Nicholas Hag.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff about that.
He delivered a little cheap punch to Kirill. So, you don't touch Kirill. So we'll see. Well, I think the best thing to do is to repeatedly hit him over and over and over again, so he doesn't want to keep playing. That's the best thing to do. But we'll see. You never know. It gets heated.
Well, this is how it works, right? I mean, the first couple of games, you get a little bit of piss and vinegar, but the longer the series goes, the more of that stuff starts to happen, and from there, you never know what might turn out.
Exactly. Yeah, we got to be smart. We can't be taking dumb penalties, things like that, against a team that has pretty good offensive players. So, but you know what, we've been playing physical all these last two games and out competing them and being having more hits against this team. So that's been a recipe that's worked in our favor. And it doesn't matter if it's that guy or whoever their players are. We're gonna make sure that we finish our checks and things like that, and make it really hard for these guys in a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm. And, hey, nice goal the other night.
Yeah, that's always nice to get one of those. The goalie was in the net this time, too, so it was great.
Yeah. There was a goal.
Although empty net goals in the playoffs are nice, too.
Yeah.
I loved your reaction. I loved your reaction when you scored. It's like you're jumping like 2 or 3 hops, like oh man, I just did that.
Wait, it actually went in?
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump once, but Nyquist kind of helped me down. There were 4 in there.
That was awesome.
I was like, let me jump once, man. He made me look like a bunny rabbit out there.
So what would you say? Yeah, nice goal, Marcus. Love seeing you get on the board. What would you say, Marcus? Here we go. Okay, tonight is the first home game of this series for your club. What would you say to a Minnesotan who says, well, yeah, they're going to watch your game, but they're also going to flip back and forth to the NFL draft? What would you...
I mean, I think you just watch the first pick by the Vikings, and then you turn it off, right? That's it. Or until they do that. But I don't know. I think there's a lot more physicality and a little bit more excitement in an AHL playoff game tonight than there is going to be in an NFL draft. But, hey, people will probably think maybe trades or crazy picks are more important, but that depends. I'm sure if I know the Minnesota fans, they're going to be tuning into our games tonight big time. So I don't know if the Timberwolves play tonight or tomorrow, so I think that'll help us.
Timberwolves play tomorrow night. You're being very diplomatic about this. You're being very diplomatic. It's going to be a great crowd tonight. So both Randy Shaver and Ashley over here have said, yeah, that's cute and everything that the Wild are playing Game 3.
I didn't say it
but
that.
they feel the need to check out the NFL draft tonight. You're being very nice about it. You're being very kind.
I have multiple screens.
It should be us on the TV and you just refreshing Twitter on the picks. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I've got the little appy thing on my phone. I'll use that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I love when those guys go up there and give a big hug to Roger Goodell. It's awesome. I don't think we do that with Gary Bettman. I always love seeing that.
Do you still remember where you? I mean, of course, every player is going to remember where they landed in the draft, but and you probably remember some of the players who went just above or below you. Was it? Very exciting, I'm sure, the day you get drafted. Yeah. But what are some?
It was in Montreal. I got to go get drafted in Montreal, and I wasn't highly touted. I was just I knew I was going to get drafted probably in the. I was thinking maybe the first 3 rounds, but I went in the 4th round. But you know what? I went, and it was awesome. And, yeah, you're exactly right. You kind of still look at the names that get called ahead of you, and you're like, are you kidding me, this guy? Yeah. but think about doing that for 4 rounds. So it gets kind of humbling after that. But, yeah, once you start making a name for yourself and then feeling like you can make the AHL pretty soon, and then you get to the AHL, and then you realize the guys that were picked ahead of you that didn't quite pan out. It feels good, and I think that always lights a fire under your butt to work harder.
Yeah, see, now I want to look you up now. I want to look up some of the players that were just...
Oh, yeah, I had a good draft class. I will say a lot of guys in the first round are very, very good. Very deserving.
104th overall in the year 2009. My damn, 2009. Picked by the Buffalo Sabres. So now I have to... I don't have the skill set for this to look that up, but I'm very curious to look that up later. If someone can find it quickly for me, I'd love to see some of the players that went just above or just below Marcus.
A lot of reading. There's 103 before me. That's a lot of guys. You might need a couple days.
How did you compare to your brother in the draft?
My brother went, I believe he was 29th overall, so he was in the first round.
My damn.
Yeah, he went to Ottawa Senators. Yeah, he got the 29th. That was awesome, actually. I remember going to his draft. I was in Vancouver, and he was on, the first round's on TV, right? So that's the big deal. So yeah. I didn't get that luxury, but still an exciting feeling.
All right, here we go. I've found the 2009 NHL entry draft. Do you remember who went number 1 overall when you were drafted, Marcus?
Yeah, I believe it was John Tavares.
That's right. John Tavares went to the New York.
Victor Hedman.
Victor Hedman.
Matt Duchene.
Jesus, listen to this, yeah.
You just listen about all the guys that go ahead of you, and it just burns right in your skull, so you just remember it all.
Yeah, I bet.
We're not going to go through all 103 of them, but so far...
all those 3 guys are pretty damn good players, so I don't know. After that, it gets pretty blurry. I don't remember much after that.
I'll give you the top 10. Next up, going to the Atlanta Thrashers was Evander Kane.
Oh, there you go.
L.A. Kings went with Braden Shen. Phoenix, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Toronto, Nazem Kadri, who still plays for somebody. Dallas, Scott Glennie. I don't recall that.
Yeah, it didn't pan out.
Okay, Ottawa.
He's not doing a radio interview today.
No, he's definitely not.
Ottawa, Jared Cohen. And then Edmonton went with Magnus Pajärvi.
Pajärvi, yeah.
Pajärvi.
Yeah, I know there's always guys at that time that are playing well and big prospects, and then it takes a toll, to stay in it. So it's but it's also cool to look back. There's a lot of great players in that draft. I think even if you go in the late numbers of the first round, there's some guys that have some pretty damn good careers right now.
Oh, hell yeah, you included. Now, looking at the players immediately above and below you now on the list of the folks, the fellas who were drafted on the same day you were in 2009, I'd say this is a great compliment to you. Not a lot of the names surrounding you grabbed me as marquee players. Chris Weidman rings a bell. Matthias Ekholm. There you are. There you are from the Sudbury Wolves. Fun times in Sudbury. Yeah, it was fun times in Sudbury on most nights.
Yep, that's the Sudbury Saturday night they call it. That's when we used to play on the Saturday nights. The whole town would come out to watch us. So we were the hot ticket there. So as a junior kid, you thought that you were in the NHL already. So it was pretty cool.
It's a Sudbury Saturday night. That sounds like an old song.
Yes.
Like the Marshall Tucker Band probably had a song called "It's a Sudbury."
Look it up go on YouTube or whatever. It's Sudbury Saturday Night. It's Stomp and Tom Connors. It's a good jam.
Oh, there is a song called Sudbury.
There is a song, called Sudbury Saturday Night. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's find that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would crank that when you guys took the ice?
They would throw it on in between like whistles and stuff, and definitely in the intermission. I think they would bring out a band to play during the intermission, and they were like in. Sudbury's a big mining town, so they would have these guys in mining outfits, and they would be singing it.
What?
Oh, yeah. Get the people going on a Sudbury Saturday night.
Oh, I bet that does just get the crowd going.
It sounds like. Do you remember the words at all? You can sing it to us.
I think this is like the girls are out to mingle on the Sudbury Saturday night or something like that.
The girls are out to mingle. Well, this sounds like a riot.
Oh, yeah.
I think I got to go see a hockey game in Sudbury.
Well, it's also the location of your favorite TV show, the setting of your favorite TV show, Nick.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What's the
Shoresy.
I don't know. Yeah, see, I haven't seen it yet. What do you think of that show, Marcus?
That show's awesome. They film all the time in like the summertime, so we're always around. And the place I played like minor hockey is where they're filming. It's hilarious. But they do all their shooting in Sudbury. I think they had some lake boat scenes this past season. And they were on the lake that my wife's family grew up on. So they shut down the lake. It's a production. They do a really good job. And my brother's hosted a couple of those guys over because they're all big hockey fans and awesome guys. The cast is like the main characters. They're awesome people and stuff. So it's a great, it's a great story and how it developed. But it's a great story in general. It's got a lot of laughs. They got a lot of cameos from some NHL guys.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks in town here are crazy about it. I haven't tried it yet. This Shoresy guy, he's like a foul-mouthed character. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, your typical like loves hockey, can't give it up type thing, and he's got the missing tooth and everything plays the part, and every other word is probably a swear word or something like that, but.
You guys don't use that kind of language in the locker room, do you?
I can't imagine.
No, never.
They're gentlemen, Nick.
My son's a middle schooler, and they throw out Shoresy quotes all the time, and they talk like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Shoresy quotes.
I got the side of your mouth type language.
Yep.
Here we go. Marcus Foligno on the line with us. Big game tonight. We won't keep you much longer, but I was just reading, and this is good news for you guys, I guess. Home ice advantage seems to be a real thing so far in this year's NHL playoffs. I mean, we'll see about that, but so far home teams are mostly winning. Randy Shaver and I always talk about how we don't think home ice means jack squat in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Is there any rink at any time of year, Marcus Foligno, that feels different to you when you're out there playing?
Oh, man.
Or is it all the same? You don't think about the crowd. Tell us. What we think it means nothing, but you're the one who's out there playing.
Yeah, like I'll be interested to see how like the Washington Capitals Montreal Canadiens series goes with the Montreal fans and their that arena. That arena gets pretty electric and gets pretty going if. Like if there's a scoring chance or something, right? Like it sounds like they score when they don't. Like it's pretty loud and stuff, and it gets pretty intimidating. But I agree with you guys. I think when you're young, you kind of get intimidated, but then when you get experience in this league, you kind of just say, okay, it's another game, and there's highs and lows, and you just got to keep grinding and go through them, and you can't get caught up in what the fans are doing or stuff like that. So, and to win a Stanley Cup, you're going to have to be really good on the road anyway. So it's a thing that you just got to suck it up, and it doesn't matter where you're playing. You just got to play the same game, same way every night. But the Montreal's arena is pretty crazy. I don't know about that. I think if you played in, I think if the Rangers were in Madison Square Garden, is a pretty electric place to play. And those fans, the New Yorker fans, they if a ref makes a one bad call, they're doomed for the rest of the night. So it's one of those places too, right? You just get that New Yorker fan that you have to deal with. So I think it's pretty rowdy in there.
Oh, I bet the folks are going to have some beers in them tonight at the X.
Oh yeah, a little late game. I think 7th Street will be going.
Marcus, good luck. Not only tonight, but with the rest of the series. I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk to you before this series is wrapped up, but we always appreciate your time. Get her done, man. It's going to be a fun night tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet, Marcus.
Have a good day.
You too. 8 o'clock tonight, televised on TBS. Unless any of you are going down to the rink tonight.
No, I wish.
What do you mean? You got a draft to watch, Ashley.
That's what my phone is for, Dana. I don't know how many times I have to say this. There's an app.
There was a time, Randy, I suppose you could just go to the door and say, let me in, huh?
Sure.
Yeah.
There was a time, yeah.
Washington beat Montreal last night. Dallas beat Colorado. L.A. is handling Edmonton quite easily so
they
far.
are.
Other than the Pigs and the Knights, I didn't write down who else was playing besides
Florida, Tampa tonight, Game 2.
Yeah.
Toronto, Ottawa, Game 3.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg, St. Louis is the late game tonight. It's an 8:30 start in St. Louis, down 2-0 to Winnipeg.
Here's something Pigs fans might take an interest in. Cal Clutterbuck is retiring. Now, he didn't play this entire season.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks...
He made his mark here.
A lot of folks made the assumption that he was likely done, but he made an official announcement. Yeah, he played a few years here, made a lot of noise.
Yep. He made his mark here.
He made a lot of noise, went over to the Islanders.
Clutterbuck made me use the dump button on myself once on the radio because we had a nickname for him. You know, you can imagine, Cluster Bleep. Yeah. And I was doing a sports update and just slipped out. I go, all right, well, going to hit that. And hopefully nobody heard that.
And that was his fault?
Yes. By having the last name
Clutterbuck.
Because of the nickname.
Strange way to place blame there. But.
I feel like I'm at home where I'm blamed for things that have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It's his damn fault. He knows what he did.
You said Cluster F on the air instead of Clutterbuck.
Yeah.
Randy Shaver, finally, Andre Agassi. Do you remember him with the hairdo and the drugs?
Yeah. Doesn't have the hair anymore, but great tennis player.
No, Andre Agassi was one of the top tennis players.
Didn't he marry Steffi Graf?
Yeah, and he was a total puke bag. But anyway, he was.
Was he? No, he wasn't.
You haven't seen the documentary about Andre Agassi?
No.
He wasn't a puke bag.
He was a puke bag.
I had heard he was difficult to deal with. Isn't that the case?
Yeah.
Isn't he kind of well known for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I had no idea. I always assumed he was a good dude.
But
you're too busy saying Cluster F on the
Yeah. Hey, I'm not. Now the guy's grown up. I'm just saying, when he was younger, he was kind of a puke bag. Jesus Christ. Anyway, he's going to make his professional pickleball debut.
Oh, makes sense.
How would you like
he's
to play
in that age group now.
Yeah, he's that age, isn't he?
Yeah.
How would I like to play Andre Agassi?
Can you imagine you're a pickleball player and you get pretty good and you go, oh, man, I'm going to play against this guy?
He's probably good at it.
I would think so.
So does he play singles or is he teamed up with Steffi Graf? Is it the doubles?
I don't think Steffi Graf. I don't think he's allowed to come within 100 yards of Steffi Graf.
Oh, they're not married anymore?
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't think they lasted very long. But anyway.
Oh, I think they did.
Well, we can look it up, I guess. I thought that their marriage was a train wreck. Anyway. He is going to be playing at the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. Randy Shaver, he's part of a doubles team.
Yes.
He's 54 years old now, if you can believe that.
Yep.
He's playing alongside an 18-year-old gal who's one of the best in the business.
Wow, fun.
So she, even though she's the best in the business, couldn't find a partner for this tournament because of this and that. She saw on YouTube that Andre Agassi has taken up pickleball, and she asked him to be her partner.
That's fabulous. That's a draw. That'll get people excited.
Oh, yeah, and now he's become like a spokesman. He endorses a certain pickleball racket and things like that. So,
sure.
There you go. Steffi Graf and Andre Agassi, how long were they married?
They're still married.
They are?
There you go.
Even though he was acting like such a puke bag?
Is Nick right? Is it a train wreck, though?
No, it's not a train wreck.
It's not a train wreck.
Nick is never right.
You got to see the documentary. The guy was like all wiped out on blow, and he would wreck their house whenever she would come home looking sexy or something.
Yeah, I read some stuff that came up, and he doesn't sound like he was the greatest person in the world.
I'm not trying to be all judgy. I'm just telling you the story. We have all been puke bags at one point or another in our lives.
I heard he had a temper. That's what I always heard.
A little bit of a drug-induced temper, yeah.
I didn't know Randy was, his Facebook friend and was going to...
Hey, I'll defend a pickleball player till the day I die.
Right. Yeah. If the guy was playing lawn darts or something, you'd be right with me, but he plays pickleball.
Then he's a puke bag.
Yeah. Go ahead and have fun tonight, Randy Shaver, even though you are going to spend some time watching the NFL draft.
I will watch the Wild. Just settle down. We'll be able to catch it all tonight. It'll be good.
You know what you're doing. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
There you go. We'll return here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
NBA veteran Jim Jackson takes you on the court.
You get a chance to dig into my 14-year career in the NBA and also get the input from the people that will be joining. Charles Barkley.
I'm excited to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor.
Spike Lee, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Academy Award winner.
Knicks fans.
Now, you see, I got you. But also how sports brings life, passion, music, all of this together.
The Jim Jackson Show, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show, 93X.
I can't believe it. Here we are setting in at 8:32 on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Can't believe the crowd we got out there.
It's a good crowd.
Absolutely terrific.
Funny, handsome, successful.
We thank you so very much. So this just came to mind while we were effing off, playing a song. That's our F-off time. When we play a song on the radio, we get to relax for a minute. Something or another we were talking about in our conversation with Randy Shaver a few minutes ago. The Cleveland Guardians have made more babies than any other big league ball club over the last 14 years. That's a supposed true fact right there. The Cleveland Guardians, for whatever reason, pump out more babies, or have pumped out more babies in the last 14 years than any other big league ball club. They know this due to the paternity list that a player can go on for a day or two if they have to run off to the hospital for the birth of a child. Is there any way, Josh, do you know of any website or anything, is there any way we could determine which town here in Minnesota produces the most babies? I mean, obviously, Minneapolis, St. Paul would be the answer just because of the population, right? But I'd just like to see, for example, which comparable small towns are more sexually active, like Pine City versus Rush City or something like that.
I did just learn that at the Maple Grove Hospital, that's the hospital where most babies are born at.
Okay, what is that?
There's something to that.
Well, then the credit would go to Maplewood.
Or Maple Grove, yeah.
You said Maple Grove or Maplewood?
Yeah, I just Googled it. In Minnesota, North Maple Grove Hospital has been consistently the hospital with the most deliveries for the past 6 years. Babies born, not like UPS. For the past 6 years.
Maple Grove.
In 2022, they had over 5,200 births.
That's where I'll be going.
That's where you're going?
Yep. Nice hospital.
I mean, it's kind of a tricky thing. Like, I want to know. I mean, of course, it must be a very highly regarded hospital, so folks will drive. I'm more looking like, comparing some small towns to see which citizens are getting more ass, like Brainerd versus Pequot or Rockford versus Buffalo. It's probably an impossible task. It's just something that came to mind.
Yeah, because people will travel to go to different clinics and, yeah.
Right. All right. You like to watch a motion picture now and again, everybody?
Sure.
Heck yeah.
I really want to see Sinners, which just came out.
I've heard really good things about that one,
Yeah,
Josh.
me too.
I've heard mixed reviews.
Oh, really?
I've only heard good things.
Yeah, I think that one's actually going to get me out to the movie theater.
My wife wanted to go to the movie theater. And I said, on whose dime? That's expensive.
I bet she loves her some Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, he is definitely her type.
I guess I could just say everybody loves him some Michael B. Jordan.
I loved his work in the Creed series. So you like to watch a motion picture now and again. Says here, actors sometimes have to do nasty things for their role. BuzzFeed put together a list of some gross behind-the-scenes facts from movies, and television shows are included in here. Television shows. Now, a lot of it has to do with eating this or that, but not all of it. Excuse me. As a matter of fact, they start off with Nicole Kidman in a movie called The Paperboy. Anybody?
No.
Never even heard of it.
What was that? Did Chris Elliott do something? Or maybe he was a paper boy.
Well, you're thinking of in the sitcom Get a Life, I believe Chris Elliott's... Did you say Chris Elliott?
Yeah. If I didn't, that's who I meant.
In the sitcom Get a Life, if I'm not mistaken, Chris Elliott's character was a paper boy, even though he was 35, 40 years old. Is that possibly what you were thinking?
I'm sure that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I just watched him in a show. I've never seen the S Creek.
Oh, sure.
We just started that over the weekend, and I didn't know he was in there. My God, I love that guy.
Oh, it's such a good show, dude.
So wildly underrated, Chris Elliott. We've agreed on that and pushed that narrative for years on this program, haven't we, Josh?
We have. I don't know for sure if you'd like the show, but you'd love Chris Elliott's role. He's so Chris Elliott in it, it's great.
You're talking about Creek.
Yeah.
Isn't Eugene Levy involved?
He's in it. Yep.
Yes.
He's excellent. His son's very funny.
Yeah, no, I know. I've seen just very brief. I doubt I'll ever try it, but it sounds like the cast is very funny. So back to this movie called The Paperboy. Something gross happened on set, and I guess the actors felt like this was the only way to go about it and have it be effective, have the scene be effective. Nicole Kidman legitimately peed on Zac Efron from what they call here the jellyfish scene in The Paperboy. So she really took a whiz bang right there on Zac Efron.
A lot of people would pay for that.
On both sides, I'd imagine.
Yep.
Zac Efron, he's quite the catch, some people say.
Sure is.
At least they didn't have to do a push pop.
Oh, what's a push pop?
What's a push pop?
I'll send you some links. famous Zac Efron scene from the movie Don't Tell Me. It's called Dave and Tony Landed Wedding Dates. I know I'm close enough there.
I think it's Mike and Dave need wedding dates.
There you go. Nicole Kidman legitimately peed on Zac Efron. Now I kind of want to watch whatever The Paperboy is. Vampire's Kiss. Never saw it.
Never even heard of it.
That's the problem with some of these articles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage ate a live cockroach.
I just assume Cage just does that for fun.
I'm sorry?
He's hungry. You know, I assume he just does that on his own. He didn't need to be prompted by a director to eat a cockroach. It seems like something he would just do.
He looks ridiculous in this movie.
Oh, wait a minute. Now that we've said it out loud a couple of times, wasn't this meant to be like a very sarcastic take on Dracula?
Well, he just was in one. Renfield? Is that?
Maybe that's what I'm...
No, you're right. It is I'm not sure if it's sarcastic, but yeah, he plays some type of vampire Dracula thing.
In Vampire's Kiss, I would hope there's...
He looks so ridiculous. It must be sarcastic.
I think it was supposed to be...
Stupid.
Yeah, it was supposed to be silly, but I have very limited memory of whatever Vampire's Kiss is. I could not eat a live cockroach.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know.
I don't care what
difficult.
I don't care what kind of money they were handing.
I was just trying to think, what kind of money would it have to be?
Can I throw a little Frank's hot sauce on there?
I'd have to be high on something.
Yep.
What's the drug that I could take where I wouldn't care that I was eating a cockroach? Like bath salts?
Yeah, I'd have to be up in that category.
Crocodile?
The list is probably longer than you want to hear, Josh.
Yeah.
There are a lot of dangerous drugs out there that probably you'd be as carefree as you've ever been in your life while you're eating a cockroach. Crack rocks, meth rocks. I couldn't do it. It would have to be an insane amount of money. All right, now, all of yous fall down and touch yourself every holiday season when that Elf movie starts being raked across our television screens over and over again. You all like Elf.
Yep, that's one of my favorite movies.
So then you probably know this already. You want to even answer it before I do? Do you know where I'm going with elf, Ashley?
Yeah.
Josh knows.
No,
But I read the article.
Oh,
Does he?
well, because-
Maybe I'm going to take a guess. Is he actually eating other people's gum?
Oh,
that was gross.
Good guess. Good guess. Josh, but did you know this before you read the article?
I did know this, yeah.
Okay. Will Ferrell had to film the spaghetti scene twice, where I'm not an elf fan, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a legit It's a legit pile of spaghetti, and then he puts what on top?
There is a chocolate syrup, marshmallows, sprinkles. I believe there might be jelly beans.
We made it
Yeah.
for the kids when they were little. They loved the movie Elf, and so we made that once, Elf spaghetti.
I also had it. I ate it on air, like 5 years ago or so. 6
I
years
remember
ago.
that.
What'd you think?
I thought it was delicious. Oh,
Okay.
and then there's crumpled up Pop-Tarts on the top. That is key. I think it would have been better if it was warm.
You made
some maple syrup, please?
I didn't put it's spaghetti.
You know what? I think I have some. Yes.
You like sugar, huh?
Is there sugar in syrup?
Yes.
Then yes. We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
Now, so you made this at home, so it all went into the garbage, Josh?
Nobody could finish very much of it. But
Wow.
yeah, we did make it.
It's a lot of work. Will Ferrell had to film the spaghetti scene twice for that Elf movie. He barfed during the first take.
I can see why that much sugar would kill me.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really see it as being puke-worthy, but...
Oh, I could handle the sugar. I'm a sugar junkie, but just all those bizarre flavors mixed together, it's terrible.
It just tastes like pure sugar.
Terrible.
I don't think it would. It's not that crazy. That really does surprise me that he threw up.
Jungle Fever. I remember hearing that once or twice.
I never saw that movie.
Yeah.
That was a pretty popular movie, was it not?
Isn't that like a good 35, 40 years old, or am I out of my mind?
Or is that a different...
Spike Lee, Jungle Fever?
Is that the Spike Lee one?
91.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's the one, yep.
Never saw it, but Halle Berry didn't take a shower or a bath for 2 weeks to get into character for her role in Jungle Fever.
Yuck.
Boy, I bet she still just tastes like a peach, though.
Right. That's so true.
Know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't stop me one bit.
I don't care how many times she went to the gym. You know what I'm saying, Cubby?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Halle Berry.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very attractive, but that might be rough.
Didn't take a bath or a shower for 2 weeks to get into character for her role in Jungle Fever. What was your personal record again when you were living up at Moorhead going to college?
However long a semester of college is.
Dude.
Yeah, a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months for
That's
sure.
a long time, Josh.
And this was a bet?
Yeah, it was a dare.
A dare.
Yeah.
You could at least still wear deodorant, right?
Yeah, I could wash my face, which I never really do anyways, and I could wear deodorant. That was it.
Oh, dude.
How much tail were you pulling down that semester?
Well, here's the thing. I was offered it once, and then, but I had a girlfriend that went to a stout. We came back to live in the same city.
It's adorable.
We immediately broke up.
Oh.
This lady asked me to, and I said, well, I can't, because I got a girlfriend. And she said this to me, and this has never happened before or since. She said, I don't care.
Wow. She needed to have it, and she needed you to deliver it, and she needed you to deliver it now.
That's one of those we've mentioned, everybody probably has this where you wake up in the middle of the night and think, what have I done?
Yeah.
That one gets me sometimes.
So one more time, because we've talked about this a few times over the years. You did not shower you didn't clean yourself other than washing your face. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I could wash my face and put on deodorant.
Okay. For 2 months.
Yeah.
You're thinking that was the general time frame.
That was my freshman year of college.
And whenever we've had this conversation, what a lot of folks don't consider, everyone just thinks, oh, the smell. But what a lot of folks don't consider, the pain.
Oh, yeah, and I had hair at the time, and it hurt.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My head would hurt.
Your head hurts because your hair is so filthy. Wherever body parts
Rub together like some chafing.
Thank you. I could have sat here all day. I never would have come up with the word rub, which shows that I'm completely losing. Yes, wherever your body parts rub together becomes painful after a while, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it definitely does.
What we're talking about here are some of the gross behind-the-scenes facts from television shows and movies.
Half-assed morning show, 93X.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, sir. Present.
Remember a little earlier on in the program, wasn't that long ago, I was wondering, and there's no way we could figure this out. This was just a liquor talk, and I was wondering which town here in Minnesota produces the most babies. Well, I got a text message from a listener who says Pine City has got to be the lowest, and that's because it's been scientifically proven that a human cannot get a farm animal pregnant.
But they keep trying to prove it there.
They do. They're hard workers. All right, so we were talking about gross behind-the-scenes facts from television and movies. And one of the last gross facts we discussed, Halle Berry, didn't take a shower or a bath for 2 weeks to get into her character for a movie called Jungle Fever from way back in 1991. Then Josh talked about how when he was a freshman in college, he didn't shower for 2 months. He was dared to be this barrel of filth for 2 months. Also got a text from a listener who said I didn't shower for a month and a half when I was in the field for the Marines. I was also a mechanic, and flies began to circle around me.
Oh, dude, yucky.
You know, sometimes you might be not attracted, but drawn to some gross things, right? Like that corpse flower that blooms. People go see that because they want to smell it, how terrible it smells.
I hear you.
I wouldn't mind having an opportunity to smell a person who's still alive that could attract flies because it's so bad. I want to know what that's like.
Yeah.
I do want to do that corpse flower deal, too.
They were circling over his head. You want to go visit the corpse flower?
Yeah.
What exactly does it smell like again? Is it like a dead body?
That's what I thought, yeah. People have said it smells like a dead body.
Oh, my God.
Couldn't remember if it was farts or dead body.
All right. Some more movies here with gross facts connected to them, and we get to talk about a couple of my favorite all-time movies. Night of the Living Dead from way back in the 60s. Love that movie. The supposed human remains, the human remains in the movie that the zombie actors had to eat were made of ham. Oh, God. No, I'm kidding. Everybody loves ham.
Yeah, ham's delicious.
They were made of ham and sheep organs covered in chocolate syrup.
Oh.
That's pretty gross.
Why couldn't you just have stuck to ham?
There was no better option than that?
Yeah.
We had a substitute teacher who we loved him. He looked like Vincent Price, if you know who that is.
Sure.
And he was like a bit character in movies, kind of like a background character. And he would talk about some of those, what actors would actually be eating. Like ice cream, it would be mashed potatoes, right? So it doesn't melt after a while. And he talked about some of that stuff and said there were times he'd be like in the background of a restaurant, they're eating some stuff that was pretty gross. That's the one I remember the most. And I thought, I wouldn't mind eating a bunch of mashed potatoes. But he said like the detail that they put, especially if it's right there on screen, and for commercials too, what they use to portray the food.
Right. Oh, I love watching those videos.
Oh, you've seen those?
Yeah, the videos of like what they inject or paint onto fast food hamburger to make it look more.
Right. I mean, no wonder a lot of these people just puke on set. Because I'm guessing, say, the mashed potatoes that are supposed to be ice cream are cold, and you have 30 different takes of you spooning ice-cold mashed potatoes into your mouth.
Yeah.
That's gonna, at the very least, that's going to aggravate you.
Or if you're licking it, like it's an ice cream cone,
Right.
that throws me off.
I would never want to do food ads if I got into television. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus. All right.
By the way, I didn't realize this at the time either, but it is kind of funny, Dana, you asked what a corpse flower smells like.
Oh. Look at me.
Oh, my gosh.
Dana, it's not called the fart flower, Dana.
Yeah. What does the corpse flower smell like?
I don't know what the hell's wrong with you sometimes.
I don't either. Neither does my therapist or my family.
Another one of my favorite movies, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, the actor who played Leatherface wasn't allowed to wash his costume. He wore it 12 hours a day in over 100-degree weather.
Oh, I bet that was just rank.
Yep.
And he was a big, sweaty cat, And during the I'll get it right, I promise you. During the family dinner scene in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the table was set with real rotting animal carcasses. They filmed for 26 straight hours in that 100-degree heat I was telling you about.
Oh. I hope they got paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Probably not.
But I love that movie.
It's a very low-budget horror movie, but it is a great movie, though.
Danny DeVito ate, I don't know what this is, raw bluefish. I don't know what a bluefish is. I know a blowfish, not a bluefish. But Danny DeVito had to eat raw bluefish in a movie called Batman Returns, and that bluefish was mixed with mouthwash and algae.
Why?
It was a particular superfood algae. Like, people eat it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I worked at a restaurant once where, like, people would get that and wheatgrass.
So was that supposed to make it better?
I don't know.
Like
I'm assuming for the color is why they did it. But.
Man, he was nasty as the penguin.
I don't know that one. Never saw it.
That really doesn't surprise me coming from somebody like him.
Christian Bale ate real maggots in a movie called Rescue Dawn. Have you guys seen Rescue Dawn?
Sure have.
No.
I love that
But you
one.
couldn't pay me enough to do that. Absolutely not.
No, I couldn't eat maggots.
Oh, my gosh, no.
That makes sense for him. He's always doing those crazy things, losing 90 pounds for a role.
Oh, was that?
Oh, yeah,
That was rough. What was that called? Was it The Mechanic or what was?
Yeah.
Well, in Rescue Dawn, he wasn't looking all that good either because he portrayed a prisoner of war. That's one of those movies, if you haven't seen it, where at least a dozen times during the movie I said to myself, while watching Christian Bale's character, I said to myself, well, that's it. He's dead.
The Machinist.
And then he made it, and then, oh, well, that's it. Now he's really going to die. And then he makes it, but it's a great movie. The Machinist.
Yeah, have you seen that one?
No.
I don't know how he's alive. I mean, he was so skinny. He was a skeleton.
Same with the movie, I can't remember the name, the one that Matthew McConaughey did, and he lost.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, no, you said Matthew McConaughey, not Broderick.
Yeah, and he had to lose a crap ton of weight, and he looks like he's on the verge of death.
Oh, Dallas Buyers Club. He lost 50 pounds for the role.
Yep.
I've never seen that.
And I wonder if that, what was his name again? Christian Bale? I mean, he almost killed himself for this role. And all of us said, The Machinist, never saw it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did see The Machinist.
Finally, you guys would be able to help me with this. The television show The Office, never saw it.
Yeah, of course.
But did these people dislike each other? It says here, Rainn Wilson would eat a smelly tuna sandwich before he had to film kissing scenes with someone called Angela Kinsey. Why would he do that?
Maybe it was to add to the fact that she portrays to be disgusted with him sometimes.
Oh, in the show they did not. Okay, so in the show they did not like each other.
It makes sense for the character of Dwight Schrute to have tuna breath for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it just adds a level to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He's kind of looks a little smelly too. He lives on a farm. Lives on a beet farm.
Yeah, he's a beet farmer.
Yeah.
God, he is such a good actor.
Was that his cousin? That's kind of disturbing.
Oh, Cousin Mose?
Yeah. Woo-wee.
He'd be screaming in the middle of the night.
He's always just running away.
I love that shit.
Josh, when you were a younger man, you'd visit the old beet farm once in a while, didn't you?
Oh, so much so that I got worried about it.
Oh, God. All right, we got to get the hell out of here. Tomorrow's Friday, total F-off day. We may not give any effort at all tomorrow, so we might as well finish strong today.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I was going to make a beet juice joke, and that would not finish the show strong, so I'm going to stay away from that.
Why are you afraid of your beet juice jokes? What if it's a big hit?
I don't think it would have
We
been.
want to finish strong. Tomorrow we're not going to make any effort at all.
We'll finish strong with some shout-outs, like this one to our pal Mason, a.k.a. Mason Plays 2014, lesbian medical laboratory scientist, Jesus.
Who wants to hear the beet juice joke?
I feel like I've been cheated.
We all want to hear the beat juice joke.
Well, it wasn't like a whole full setup. It
Oh.
was going to be a line that I threw out there. And when it gets built up, it tears it down.
Yeah, I get it.
Building up the beet juice.
Where the hell was I? I was in the middle of... yes. Lesbian medical laboratory scientist Jesus text a happy medical laboratory professional week to all the science-y peeps out there. Happy birthday to badass mama Jesus from your loving son. Trust me, I'm 19, Jesus. And to you, have yourself the best Thursday a guy or gal could ever have.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks as always for listening to the podcast, and of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.